One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Governor Mark Meredith is live in Montclair with the latest for us. Mark.
Ainsley, Brian, and Lawrence, good morning once again, friends. Some brand new information coming into our newsroom that we've learned that these threats were communicated electronically via email to at least 7 different counties across the Garden State. These threats certainly being taken seriously, and out of abundance of caution, some of the polling places were temporarily either closed or suspended as they moved voters to different locations. And then as they were doing those searches, then either able to reopen some of the facilities. We got a statement from the Attorney General of New Jersey. I want to put it up on the screen for you. It says, law enforcement officers have responded at each affected polling place. Some of these polling locations have already reopened to the public. The polls in New Jersey opened at 6 a.m. sharp. We have not seen any added security in the last hour or so, but it is certainly possible that we could see more because at this polling facility right here behind me, we are going to be seeing the Democratic nominee for governor, Mikey Sherrill. She'll be out here with her family to cast her.
All right, so now the microphone is plugged in. It wasn't on mute. The cleaning lady came today, and I guess when she cleaned, she did a great job, but something got unplugged. But it is now plugged. You can hear my voice. All right, so Election Day. And it is turning into pretty much what we thought it was going to be. They've already called Virginia for Spartanburger. They're about to call New Jersey for Sherrill. And then, of course, Mondami and those guys, they won't be doing anything until 10 o'clock or so. But let's listen a little bit to what Spartanburger has to say.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. My fellow Virginians, tonight we sent a message. We sent a message to every corner of the Commonwealth. A message to our neighbors and our fellow Americans across the country. We sent a message to the whole world that in 2025, Virginia chose pragmatism over partisanship. We chose our Commonwealth over chaos. You all chose leadership that will focus relentlessly on what matters most: lowering costs, keeping our communities safe, and strengthening our economy for every Virginian. Leadership that will focus on problem solving, not stoking division. We chose leadership that will always put Virginia first. And Virginia, I cannot wait to get to work for you. Tonight we turned a page. We turned that page by listening to our neighbors, focusing on practical results, laying out a clear agenda, and leading with decency and determination. To everyone who helped us achieve this win, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. I thank you for the trust that you have placed in me, and it is the honor of my lifetime to be elected the 75th governor of the Commonwealth. I would like to thank my opponent for a hard-fought race, the Lieutenant Governor's story, her military service, and her years of service here in Virginia deserve our respect and our gratitude, and I ask that you join me in wishing her and her family well. I also know that those who were supporting my opponent are disappointed today. And to those Virginians who did not vote for me, I want you to know that my goal and my intent is to serve all Virginians. And that means that I will listen to you, I will work for you and with you. That is the approach that I've taken throughout my entire career. I have worked with anyone and everyone, regardless of political party, to deliver results for the people that I serve. And that's because I believe in this idea that there is so much more that unites us as Virginians and as Americans than divides us. And I know in my heart that we can unite for Virginia's future, and we can set an example for the rest of the nation. Our founders understood this from the very beginning. They didn't choose to call Virginia a Commonwealth by accident. They chose it to signify that our government would be based on the power of the people united for a common good. Not for a political party, not for a president, not for a monarch, but for a common good, together. And tonight, Virginia proved that that tradition is alive and well. We are still a Commonwealth in every sense of the word. We are built on the things we share, not the things that pull us apart. And I am proud that our campaign earned votes from Democrats, Republicans, independents, and everyone in between. That's the Virginia I know, that's the Virginia I love, and that's the Virginia I will have the honor of serving as your next governor. I want to thank so many people for the support that they have given to our campaign. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your support. To our tireless volunteers, to those who believed in me, thank you. Thank you for devoting your time, your energy, and your conviction to this campaign. Thank you for braving the weather, the heat, and then the cold, and then the rain, and then the sun. It's Virginia after all. Thank you. Thank you for talking to your neighbors about the importance of this race. Thank you for recognizing that when we went person to person engaging, that we could bring people not just into supporting our campaign, but into engaging in our democracy. Thank you. We won this race because of you. To our campaign team, you're the best in the country. Every single member of our team, every single one of you, you work tirelessly for the change, the progress, the policies, the connection, and the respect that you want to see in our communities. Thank you for working so hard. Thank you for giving people hope. Thank you for knocking on doors in the sweltering heat. Thank you for showing kindness. Thank you for showing up in every corner of Virginia. Thank you for diving deep on policy. Thank you for capturing moments and the essence of our campaign. Thank you for reaching voters everywhere. And thank you for believing that Virginia could and would send a hopeful and joyful message tonight. Thank you for giving everything to this campaign and then some. And thank you to my family. To my husband, Adam. My partner in everything. I love you with my whole heart. I am grateful for you. And it is very strange to declare my love for you in front of millions of people. But every adventure we have ever been on has been worth it because you have been by my side. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I cannot wait to see what the next couple of years bring.
You know, I don't know how to stress the importance of what we're seeing. I don't think people, obviously there's some people in the chat who say I don't want to hear it. You're watching your country. You're watching the attempt to take down America. You're watching people who are working earnestly to destroy your way of life. You're watching people who would love nothing better to be able to take away your money, take away much of your freedom, much of what you stand for, your Christianity. And so to me, it reminds me, in essence, of like watching a game film, because I'd like to know what I'm up against. And so I pay attention to this stuff, even if you choose not to. I pay attention personally because I'm watching, and I'm going to see it a couple times, and you're going to see it a couple times if you stick around. Evil personified. There's no other word for what you're about to see and what this woman stands for and what she has said. It's kind of frightening because I don't think MAGA is ready for it. I'll just say it right now. I don't think what I've seen over the last couple days that MAGA is ready for what's going to be needed. I see the division. I see the fighting. I see the BS. I see the baiting for clicks where they possibly couldn't believe what they say. You've seen them. I saw Candace Owens saying she's telling people not to vote. I saw Benny and Mark Mitchell say what we need is a total implosion in the housing market. And I'm like, what are people talking about? How is this something that could even be real on the right? And I'm seeing it over and over and over again. And I can see that this MAGA thing is being stretched to the limit. The seams are fraying. Almost like when Lily and Midas decide they want to tear apart a chew toy. We're in big trouble. We are in big trouble, and I'm telling you what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow brings a repudiation of Trump, a repudiation of MAGA. Everything that Trump stands for, nobody wants. That is what you're going to hear over and over and over, and it will make a difference to some people. Nobody likes being attached to losers. Nobody likes when they're part of a losing team. And so it's going to get worse. The fraying, the segmentation is going to get worse. And so I find it to be my job is to try to keep you guys together, going the same way, standing behind Trump, understanding what has to happen, because now momentum needs to be rebuilt on the right. The momentum tonight is going to be all in one direction. Unless Chiartelli can pull it out in New Jersey, it's probably going to be a clean sweep for the Democrats, and the Democrats and the media, one and the same, are going to be gleeful. And then watch what happens. Probably they're saying Wednesday or Thursday, tomorrow or Thursday, the Democrats are all of a sudden going to come in and sign the continuing resolution. It was all an act to just freak people out. And so she's past her thank you phase, and let's see what she's talking about, what she's going to do.
Are a nation founded on ideas, but we are a country where it is up to us, the citizens, who must put those ideas into action. It is us, the citizens, who work to make the change and progress and build upon the foundations laid out over so
Hold on a second. I'm seeing some results come in. Let's check this out.
But a lot of folks thought that New Jersey was either 2 points one way or 2 points the other, or even 1 point in her direction or 1 point in his. We'll see whether or not throughout the night that is the case. So too soon to call in New Jersey, Jesse. We'll check on your neighborhood momentarily.
Okay.
Right.
We'll keep tracking it. Thank
deal.
you so much.
Okay.
Joining me now.
So as of right now, she's 18 points ahead, which, you know, I don't know what districts they've brought in yet, but she's 18 points ahead. The numbers thus far in Virginia, she's ahead 55 to 44 with a 69% in. So Virginia isn't going to end up being close at all. It's basically going to be a landslide. What happens if we see three landslides tonight? It could get absolutely crazy. Absolutely. Now let's go over to Mikey Sherrill's camp.
Somewhere here, and a Latino press person, Teresa Sigal Rochambeau, and everybody who makes sure the Latinos knew who was with them and who was not with them, and who's going to be with them is Mikey Sherrill, because she cares about all of New Jersey. So New Jersey, are we ready to celebrate? Are we ready to celebrate? This is for New Jersey, but it's also for America. And America is inclusive of all of us and all of you, and that will invest in our children's future, including my Latino boys. I love you. Thank you for your hard work. And Mikey Sherrill will be the governor for all of us. Thank you. And let's make sure Mikey Sherrill is the governor later. Thank you so much.
So now that the campaign is over, the real work begins, because this was never about just winning an election. It was about what comes next. It's about the governing. Virginia voters made our choice tonight, and that choice was loud and clear. We are going to work to lower costs of renting, buying, or staying in your home. We are going to cut red tape and build homes families can actually afford. We're going to lower health care costs. We're going to crack down on predatory pharmaceutical practices and surprise billing. And we're going to produce more energy, and we are going to lower costs, and we're going to do it by producing more energy here in Virginia, and we're going to make sure that large utility users make sure that they pay their fair share. We're going to grow Virginia's economy by investing in apprenticeships and job training of the future. We're going to leverage AI and cutting-edge manufacturing to bring more capital investment into our Commonwealth. We are going to take politics out of our schools. We're going to make sure that teachers are well paid and well respected.
Looks like they're having a medical problem with some guy behind the stage. May have passed out. Not really sure.
We are going to make sure that our teachers are well paid and well respected. so that our students can focus on actually learning and so that parents know that their children will succeed. And we are going to make our communities safer by providing the training, pay, and support that our law enforcement community needs and deserves. These aren't slogans on a bumper sticker. They are actionable policies that I am ready to implement starting on day one. And starting now, that work begins. So as we begin this transition to a new administration, I want to be absolutely clear about a couple things. First, Virginia is the only state in the South that hasn't restricted women's reproductive rights since the Dobbs decision, and under my watch, it will stay that way.
Can you imagine having your teenage daughter and younger daughters and younger girls in the audience, and they're applauding baby removal? They're applauding it. She's got her teenage daughter sitting right next to her and the other daughter, and they're applauding like she understands what the heck it means. Unreal.
And right now, our federal workforce is under attack. And the chaos coming out of Washington is killing Virginia jobs and creating economic uncertainty for tens of thousands of families. Government employees, government contractors, small business owners who are impacted by the chaos coming out of Washington. Virginia's economy doesn't work when Washington treats our Virginia workers as expendable. To those who have been impacted by the mass layoffs, by furloughs, by the hardships that you are experiencing, please know that I will direct the full power of the governor's office to support you. And to those across the Potomac who are attacking our jobs and our economy, I will not stand by silently while you attack Virginia's workers. I will fight every single day for every single Virginia jobs, the ones we have now and the ones we will bring to our Commonwealth into the future. I will stand up to anyone who tries to harm our economy or the livelihoods of our Virginians. As governor, my job will be to put Virginia first, full stop. And tonight, as the governor-elect, I call on Congress, Republicans and Democrats, and our president to make real progress on bringing this shutdown to an end. The Virginians, the Americans who work tirelessly for their fellow citizens deserve nothing less. I know we're living in a time filled with chaos. We live in a time marked by uncertainty. And along the way, we do our best to try and explain it to our kids. I know the list of challenges that we are facing is long, but I also know that the only way we're going to solve these problems is by tackling them together. Democrats, Republicans, independents, all of us, because that embodies the message that we sent tonight. That is what being a Commonwealth is all about, standing united for our future. That is what Virginia is about. So let's show the world what we're made of. Let's get to work. Thank you all so very much. And I'm so excited we got this party started a little earlier than expected.
All right, so she didn't have much to say. That's probably one of the weakest acceptance speeches that I've ever seen. She didn't say anything except to make sure that her daughters knew that it would be okay to remove their babies if and when they want to. Other than that, she didn't really say anything. You know why? Because she doesn't know anything. Someone's going to have to tell her and put their hand up her butt and tell her this is what they want. Oh, look, we got Spartacus in New Jersey.
Unions of the state of New Jersey! From the activists to the rank and file, from the young people and the younger people. We are showing America that we still live in a nation where the power of the people is greater than the people in power. We are still letting people know that the people united will never be defeated. We are showing people that when we vote, we win. And we're also telling a different story. Today, New Jersey's not just telling a story about a great candidate in Mikey Sherrill. We're not just telling a story that we have a woman that is ready to lead, a public servant and a patriot. We're also telling a story about the truth of our nation as a whole. We had one candidate who said, I'm 100% MAGA. And another candidate who said, I'm 100% Jersey, baby. All of America needed a dose of Jersey juice. All of America needed the light and the hope that we represent tonight. All of America needed us to send a message that Donald Trump is not America's king. That we are still a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people. Tonight we have shown that when you come after Jersey, when you come after our tunnel project, when you come after our SNAP payments, when you come after our Meals on Wheels, when you come after our health care, when you come after Obamacare, when you come after our infrastructure, when you come out.
Polls are now closing in New York City. And Sean, what's interesting about New York, they close at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. That is a late closing time for anything on the East Coast. All right, let's go into Gotham City here and show you what we're looking at, okay? Here we go now. Some numbers starting to come in, about 1/3 of the vote. Sean, you're seeing this as I'm seeing this, okay? So we got fresh eyes on the story right now and fresh eyes on the number. With about 1/3 of the vote coming into New York, Mondami holds on to about a 12-point lead over Andrew Cuomo, and Curtis Lee was in single digits, and that could be very important to try and figure out who is the ultimate winner here, because Sliwa's number is really something to watch, okay? Let me show you, just for, you're in the context, Sean, I'll show you context 4 years ago. Eric Adams, in a two-person race, won the vote in New York City with more than 2/3 of the vote throughout the 5 boroughs. Curtis Sliwa, his best showing was down here in Staten Island. It is the least populated of the 5 boroughs by a lot. Just about 500,000 people live there. But you see what Sliwa's number was, almost 70%. That's where you find Republicans. That's where you find conservatives. That's where you find moderate Democrats who are willing to vote for a Republican in Staten Island here, okay? But watch Sliwa's number here as I tick on out here to the borough of Queens, which is fascinating. You see where it drops? 37%. Down here in Brooklyn, Sliwa's number goes to 24.5, right? It's just lower and lower. The Bronx, he's at 21. And here in Manhattan and New York City, he's at a mere 15%. And that makes the point that you're making, Sean, about the prominence of the Democrat vote here in New York City. Let me come off of that. And before I pop around here, let me just see right here, okay? Mamdani holding right now with a 12-point advantage here in New York. Give you a sense of what's happening here in the 5 boroughs, all right? You ready? Population, 8.5 million. We dropped 4% between the years 2020 and 2024. You got the highest median income, but you got the highest taxes in the entire country right here in the 5 boroughs. New York City spends $30,000 on every student it educates in the public school system. That's twice any other state, any other city in the country. Nearly 5 million people now work in Manhattan, New York City on a daily basis. Let me go ahead and clean that off there, okay? Pop around here. Before I take it to New Jersey and Virginia, just want to make sure nothing's really changed here, and it has, and hangs on to 12 points. I'll come back to that, Sean. Let's look at the governor's race in New Jersey, and we'll find out right now where we stand. We already called Virginia right now. Mikey Sherrill is running a pretty good campaign. You don't have quite half the vote in now for the Garden State. We got 44% is the estimate that's in right now. So we expect, a little more vote out there. But Sherrill at the moment hangs on to about a 13-point advantage. And I just keep looking at this number in black because like 15 minutes ago, it was 18, then it popped down to 15, and it was 16. Right now, we're at 13 points here. And I was talking earlier on Jesse's show about all the blue you're seeing now in southern New Jersey. Maybe it stays that way. Maybe it doesn't. But 12 months ago, this was all red, Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, and we'll see whether or not that fills in. Passaic County is now checked in, all right? We had 0 data in until now. They're checking in with 38%. Mikey Sherrill, an early lead, 20 points in Passaic. Why is that important? Go back 4 years, and we'll go ahead and compare what Jack Ciattarelli did in Passaic with Phil Murphy, all right? He lost the county, but he only lost it by a little less than 4 points, and right now she has a 20-point lead, and we'll see whether or not that stands out. Pop on down to Morris County. Haven't seen data until right now, Sean. You got 24% of the vote coming in. Ciattarelli now hanging on to a 1-point advantage. What happens in Morris County? Morristown is there. That's where Air Force One flies in to go play golf at Bedminster 4 years ago. Ciattarelli against Murphy. All right, he won Morris County by 11 points, and that's Sean. That's part of the reason why we have not made a call in New Jersey, because we think, frankly, there's not enough votes out in the parts of the state that make a difference. Morris County could indeed be one of them. I'll pop out here to Virginia and just show, Abigail Spanberger, with 3/4 of the vote counted right now, has almost a 12-point margin over Winsome Earl Sears. And you look at Northern Virginia all the time, because that's really the population hotbed. Right up here across from Washington, D.C., pop into Fairfax County, number 1 out of 133. Virginia's so interesting. 95 counties. And 38 different city counties, they call them cities, each have their own government, their own police department, their own fire department. They govern themselves, and they dot all over the Commonwealth of Virginia. Fairfax here, tucked in there is Alexandria, too. A lot of folks there live as well. But Fairfax overwhelmingly goes for Spanberger. It's where you find a lot of government workers. Think about DOJ, think about government furloughs. All of that comes into play in Northern Virginia. Just below is Prince William County. Almost all the vote is in right now. 2 of 133. Spanberger easily at 33 points. I'll just show you one more. This is Loudoun County. You hear a lot about trans issues in schools in Loudoun County. We heard it 4 years ago. We heard it 12 months ago. We heard it again in this campaign also. Ranks 4 out of 133. And Loudoun County easily went for Spanberger, 28 points. When you see numbers like that, Sean, in Northern Virginia, you pretty much know who's going to win the state, and that proved out to be the case with Spanberger tonight. I'll take you back to Gotham City here. Let's see what's moving here in New York City a little bit here and see whether or not this has changed. Not much. All right, 36% in. Mamdani holds on to 11.8 advantage. These numbers have stayed the same. Sliwa is still in single digits. We'll check in on Queens. I think Queens is so interesting, Sean. You look at this, just for our viewers at home. Like, no matter where you're watching in America tonight, just stop and think about this for a moment. This is one of 5 boroughs, okay, in Queens. It's not even the most populated. In this particular borough, maybe you fly in the JFK, maybe you fly in the LaGuardia, population 2.4 million. Foreign born, 48%. Languages spoken. In Queens alone, 160 different languages. When you study New York City, you're studying a country. Sean, you can literally cross the street and you find people with different ethnicity, different religion. They come from different parts of the world, and they certainly vote in very different ways. And you do not have to go far in that neighborhood or on that street to find that. I just saying, very interesting to study New York. For the past 2 months, really. Queens has got a third of the vote counted, a dead even 33%. Mamdani at 9.7-point advantage over Cuomo, and Curtis Sliwa comes up to 11 points. So Sliwa's in double digits here. Well, I tell you this, for you viewers at home to go ahead and follow this, watch Sliwa's number. If he's in double digits.
See, there's one thing that I want to point out that he has said. There's like 2 or 3 million people live in this area. 8 million people. Look at the number of votes. Mamdani is way ahead, but the numbers are like all together are less than 100,000. What we got here? This one's 123, 8,100, 111, 200,000 or 300,000 in Manhattan. In Staten Island, 15,000, 18, 36. The people aren't voting. So, in that regard, there's only one thing to say. If after this is over, we find out that only 25% of the people voted, y'all deserve it. I don't know what to say at that point. Wait till we see the final numbers or get close to the final numbers. Remember, there are 8 million people in New York City. I'm not sure of the population in Virginia. SV might know, but we see the total votes for that. Same thing in New Jersey. It seems as though people just didn't give a crap. They just didn't go out and vote. And now they're going to wake up tomorrow morning and look in the paper and it's like, we're getting ruled by a commie. How could you not vote in this election? How could you stay home? Incredible. Incredible.
We can play the game. I think it's very interesting. 39-11, do quick math, right? That's almost 50%, okay? That's great at what Mamdani is doing there in the Bronx. Here in Queens. In Brooklyn, he's at 60%, easily outpaces the combination of Sliwa and Cuomo. Manhattan, let's see here, he's at 52. He's above 50%, Sean. Out in Staten Island, he's not, though. He's a low at 22%. So your point's well taken. I see what you're asking here. If it was just a one-on-one competition, I see where you're going. And maybe in the end, at the end of the night, we can say that it would have been closer. Right now, not yet.
It would have, I think you're dead on accurate. It's always about the numbers. Bill Hemmer, great job as always.
Sure.
Thank you. We're going to check in with Bill later in the show.
Were you guys seeing that? I was looking to see real quick what the actual total was, and it looks to be under 1 million people have voted thus far in New York. The 5 boroughs, under 1 million. They're giving it to them. I don't understand it. And what also got me, poor SV, and he lives in Virginia, is when you see the state of Virginia, those 2 counties up top are all Democrat, and the rest of the state is red. These people screwed. Absolutely, absolutely screwed. What do we got going on now?
Long ago, trying to shake hands with New Yorkers who said, who is this guy? Well, it ended up being a 34-year-old Democratic socialist who really kept climbing up in those polls, and he went everywhere. He went to senior centers. He tried to talk to younger voters over the weekend, Sean. He was at a club and at a few clubs out in Brooklyn, really trying to connect with voters there, and it all came down to affordability for this campaign. People think politics can be complicated, which it can be, but he had a pretty simple message there on Mamdani. He said, I'll give you free stuff. I'll give you a free bus. I'll give you, some freezing your rent to try to bring the cost down in New York, because one thing voters do agree on, no matter if they're Democrat or Republican here, and you lived here too, is how expensive it is. You live here, you work here, you spend all your money on your rent. So we tried to connect with people. And then Andrew Cuomo trying to make a huge comeback here. A lot of people we talked to said, I used to love Cuomo. I loved him when he was on during COVID, did all of his briefings. They thought he was a great governor. Then they changed their mind on him and they said they didn't want to vote for him this time. So it comes down to these younger voters in New York City saying they don't care about the Democratic establishment. They reject a moderate Democrat like Cuomo and tell me they'd rather go with somebody who's new, somebody who's young. Whether he can deliver on those promises of affordability or not, we're going to have to wait and see, Sean.
We don't even know if he can do it, but he's younger. That's the criteria. You get free stuff and he's young. And he's got a big smile. But can he do anything? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. SV just sent me a text. And this is very, very interesting when you look at this text. He said there are 8.9 million people in Virginia. Let's just round it to 9. 9 million people in Virginia. Thus far, only 2.6 million people have voted. That means only 30% of the people in the state of Virginia even bothered to go vote. Only 30%. 70% just said, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. Whew. Wow. I can't wait to see what the number is in New York. Let's look at New Jersey.
Chitterelli gave President Trump an A grade. And if you talk to the Chitterelli campaign, they welcomed President Trump's entrance into this race. They used a lot of that momentum to help knock on doors and raise money. And they believed that a lot of the big momentum that they were feeling had to do with that MAGA enthusiasm. The problem, of course, with that is that it's a tightrope. Cheryl's campaign also used that against Chitterelli.
So with all of this bad news, let me give you some good news that won't be talked about. I know some of you guys are like, show me something good. Okay, let's talk about something good, shall we? I did some research because I knew people would be wondering, this really sucks. And the media is not going to show you this, and so you might as well know yourself because it'll give you some solace. It'll allow you to sleep tonight. You'll be able to go, oh, I get it, I get it, I get it. And what is that? What is it that they're not going to tell you? Well, I'm going to tell you, this was all a foregone conclusion. They knew this was going to happen. They knew that these people were going to get butt stomped. The media tried to hype it up, but there was no real way that these Republicans were going to win. And if we accept that and say, okay, I got it, I understand, this was a crapshoot. Let me prove it to you. We've had a few elections in the past, and in 2024, Kamala Harris ran against President Trump. Just about a year ago today. Yeah, a year ago tonight, basically. She won 51-46. Kamala Harris won Virginia. So to me, and I don't think Winsome Earl, who ran against Spanberger, was all that great of a candidate. So, you guys can't see. I'm sorry. Let me raise that up. Let me raise it up. There it is. Hold on. There it is. 51-46. That was what happened just a year ago. All right? So they won that. Let's go to another state. Let's look at Jersey. All right? We're going to look at Jersey right now. And when we look at Jersey, you pretty much got the same thing. 51-46. Kamala won Jersey. Kamala won Virginia. What's the other one? New York. And in 2024, Kamala won New York. She trounced Trump 55-43. So all you're seeing is a repeat of what happened in November. Doesn't really matter all that much because this is what happened in November. The Democrats trounced Trump. So what makes this a big deal now when it should have been expected? Well, there was some hype that hoped that, Chitterelli, whatever his name is, was going to beat Mikey Sherrill. It was a pipe dream. There was no candidate in New York. I mean, they picked, in a state of 8 million people, they picked the worst possible candidates. Cuomo, the killer, Sliwa, that's all you had to run against him? That's it? So there wasn't really a whole lot there. And so you're seeing the demographics of these 3 states, Virginia, New Jersey, and New York, basically are voting the same way they did a year ago. They learned nothing. I think that's what people had in mind. I think people said to themselves, you know what? I think things have changed in the last year, and people will see that this is what, Trump's doing is going to be better, and more people would jump over. Nope. What it tells me is blue is blue. Blue is forever. Blue hates Trump. Blue hates you. They're not going to vote for us. And the more successful Trump is, I think it widens the gap. So this, in and of itself, doesn't mean anything other than a B-12 shot in the rear end of Democrats. They still got to wake up tomorrow and face Trump. They still have to figure out a way, how are they going to deal with anything he wants to do? And so while we're waiting for Mondami and Cheryl to do that, first and foremost, let me go ahead and talk to you about tonight's sponsor real quick, because we're going to be here a while. Let's see. They still say New Jersey is too close to call. Not really sure why they're saying that, but they're saying it's too close to call. And I've got some comments and some video and stuff that I want to show you. So let me do this. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Okay. Boom. Pop. I want to ask you a few questions. Can you remember a moment when your body just didn't heal like it used to? Maybe after getting sick or pushing yourself physically. What went through your mind? Well, what's one thing you've noticed about your body changing as you've gotten older? How has that affected your approach to health or recovery? You see, it turns out the secret to healing, recovery, and resilience isn't just luck. It's stem cells. These are your body's built-in repair crew. But as we age, that system slows down. Fewer cells, weaker signals, slower recovery. This is exactly why Qualia stem cell was created. Your cells are powerful, but make sure they stay that way with Qualia's innovative new stem cell formula. Think of stem cells as your body's repair crew, and Qualia stem cell helps them do their job even better. Crafted with nature's most powerful healers like sea buckthorn and royal jelly, so you're ready to take on what's next. You don't have to accept slowing down or ongoing pain or lack of recovery. Help your body renew itself by reactivating the systems that keep you moving, healing, and thriving with Qualia stem cell formula. You only needed to take it 4 days out of the entire month, and that will help preserve your body's regenerative capacity over time. So if you ever felt like your body just doesn't bounce back like it used to, whether it's after a tough workout, getting sick, or just a wear and tear of life, this is for you. Qualia Stem Cell was designed to support your body's natural repair systems, helping you heal, recover, and keep going strong. And right now, you can try it for up to 50% off at qualialife.com/Barry. And here's a bonus. Use the code Barry for an additional 15% off your order. That's qualialife.com/Barry. Your body's built to repair itself. Qualia just helps it do that better. And a big thank to Qualia for sponsoring this episode.
The GOP had hoped that Ciattarelli could deliver an upset after a very close loss 4 years ago. We're going to bring back Brett and Martha to get reaction to this. Brett, I'll go back to the numbers that I threw at Martha earlier. Nearly 1 million voter advantage, Democrat over Republican in that state. Nearly a 250,000 people in New Jersey left that state. That, that to me is a math problem for Republicans if they ever want to flip a state like New Jersey.
Always. And in a state like New Jersey, as Martha talked about, it is like Lucy and the football and Charlie Brown. I mean, there is this thought that maybe this is the time, and it changes the dynamic.
You want to know something really funny? The two of them are talking, and they're actually transplants. Sean Hannity lives down here, and Bret Baier lives down here. They go back and forth to New York to do their cuts and everything. I think Sean does his show from his bedroom or something down here in Palm Beach. But both of those guys have homes down here. This is where they live. They did what they just talked about. They escaped from New York and New Jersey. I can't tell you what's going on here. It is hard for people who aren't here to understand how South Florida is literally exploding. I mean, it's going crazy from people trying to get out. And I know a lot of people are worried about it, and they say things like, well, they're going to bring their ideology down here. I haven't seen that yet because it's an overwhelming amount of people. We outpaced the Democrats by nearly 3 million registrations. So they've already bolted. Many people are continuing to bolt. I told you about it earlier, but let me go ahead and show you some new figures that came out. Here they are. Nearly 1 million New Yorkers say they'll bounce if Mamdani wins. Almost 1 in 10 New Yorkers plan to peace out of the city immediately if Mamdani becomes mayor. That's 765,000 people. The entire population of Seattle, Washington, or Las Vegas. That'd be like the entire city leaving. They're ready to dip if the 34-year-old socialist takes over City Hall. Another 2 million are thinking about it, especially older voters, Staten Islanders, and that's a lot of the Italians, and high earners who aren't hyped about higher taxes and wild headlines. This could spark the biggest mass exit in U.S. history. One respondent summed it one word: the disaster. You will have people on the left saying, oh, it's not that bad. Or you'll see people on the right, yeah, and then more people on the left saying things like, well, those people need to leave anyway. They don't want to be here as we redo the city. You're damn right they don't want to be there. It's exploding down here, and that's kind of like why I get upset when people talk about the housing market and everything, and I let them know housing is a matter of supply and demand, straight up. If nobody didn't want it, the price wouldn't go up. If people do want it, then the price goes up. And those of us in the business down here who buy and sell property, I mean, some are just realtors. I actually buy property, then fix it and resell it myself. But business and things are going so busy down here. I'm trying to figure out how I can still do 2 shows a day. And Sean Hannity's buying houses down here. It's absolutely crazy. Listen, they're talking about tax rates right now.
Inheritance tax, much lower property taxes, no income taxes, and better, weather on top of everything, but, better infrastructure on top of everything else. So, it really says a lot to me. What does it say to you, Martha? I know you love New Jersey.
Totally depressing me about all of the taxes that we have to pay in New Jersey. No, it's a terrible
I'm not trying to do that, but those numbers are insane.
No, I don't know, you guys. But it raises a question about why the argument that Chitterelli has been making that you want to lower taxes is not compelling enough for all of these New Jersey voters. I mean, it's a very obvious question. And then you have Zohran Mamdani, who is saying, well, we're just going to raise the corporate tax rate to match New Jersey. So don't worry about it because it's only going to be like New Jersey, which, as you point out, is the highest corporate tax rate in the country. But I don't know. I'm going to just be scrolling through the real estate pages here now, Sean, looking for a new place.
I think we can find your place to do your show. I know a place. It's available, and you're welcome to use it. You'll do a great job wherever you are.
You go, Sean. Sean's over there pitching South Florida on Fox News Live saying, get out. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry.
Just looking at some of the key takeaways from how Cheryl was able to prevail in that state, some of the strengths that we're seeing show up in our Fox News voter poll, she really won over some of these key groups, and that really is leading to the turnout tonight. The black voter group there, 91% of their vote she won. The women under 30, look at how big these numbers are, 80%. The younger voters, the youth vote, voters under 30, 66%. Hispanic voters, these numbers are obviously high, and those with a college degree in New Jersey, 59% showed up for Cheryl. But just looking at some of these other top findings, I mean, when it comes to the quality that they were looking for in their candidate, she did not get hit on honesty and trustworthy, even though she had to suffer through this Naval Academy controversy. Those that were looking for that in a candidate, still 70% cast their vote for her. So that did not end up hurting her, Sean. And as far as the Trump impact on the Cheryl voters, the reason for their vote, the Cheryl voters vote, those who said that they wanted to oppose the sitting president, 71% of them. So this is really what led to the outcome tonight. And I'll finish up with this. You guys are talking about those property taxes. I mean, look at this. Those who see that as a major problem in that state, 70%. So you wonder if any of that changes based on what we're seeing as far as the outcome in that state tonight. But this still continues to be a huge problem, Sean, and the economy is still the biggest issue for those New Jersey voters.
I think that's one thing both parties can take out of tonight, even though we're talking about blue states. There's really no surprises to me tonight, especially with the mass migration that has taken place, as we've been discussing. Great analysis, Sandra Smith.
Thanks,
thank you. Now, with concern over potential victory for Zoran, as we affectionately call him, Kami Marxist Mamdani in New York City tonight, well, some New York residents, they are threatening to flee Florida. A whopping 9% are saying they are about to leave if, in fact, Mamdani holds on and wins this race by a significant margin. Joining me now from the free state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, my governor. Okay, I'm literally in tears. I'm having a hard time keeping a straight face, only for this reason. I have really funny friends, and my funny friends are sending me, one is a meme of the Statue of Liberty, sitting down, smoking a cigarette. F it, I'm going to move to Florida. The other one has a picture of Mamdani, and it says, Realtor of the Year in the state of Florida. It's cracking me up.
Well, first, Sean, I'm glad you cleared up that you're not going to Ireland, because if it was a trade where Florida had to give up Hannity in exchange for Rosie O'Donnell, I would veto that trade on behalf of this free state of Florida. Don't you worry about that. Listen,
I'm grateful I have a good governor.
There you go. This is a guy, Mamdani. He wants to take down the Columbus statue. I've already said if they take that from Manhattan, we'll take it in Florida. Hey, if they want to put the Statue of Liberty in Lake Okeechobee, we'll get that done as well. But I think he's going to win, and I think it's an incredible act of ballistic podiatry, shooting yourself in the foot by New York City voters. I mean, this is a guy who does embrace Marxist economics. He claims he's going to lower everyone's costs by having the government run grocery stores, and the only people that would think that would work are people who have never studied a lick of history. He's also somebody that after 9/11, he said how bad it was that his aunt was on a subway and got dirty looks. He never expressed the sympathy in that regard that for all the people that got murdered. He's also embraced George Soros style soft on crime policies. He hates the NYPD, if you look at his history. He is not going to stand up for law enforcement. And what I found on all this, Sean, is yes, his tax policy is going to be crazy, anti-business, all that. But the number one thing that moves people to want to flee these jurisdictions is the collapse of public safety. And I think he's going to make the de Blasio reign look like the golden age.
I'm talking about a math problem in New York City, New York State. And, for example, in the last 3 years, nearly 250,000 people left the state of New Jersey. That is a math problem. And I mean this sincerely. I wanted Mamdani to lose for my friends that remain in New York. I wanted Ciattarelli to win. I don't know if you know this, but I went up and I did a town hall. Polls showed that he had a shot. I wanted to give him an opportunity to make his case. But math does not lie. Losing 250,000 residents in the last 3 years from his last election, that is an overwhelming number. Can you explain to the country exactly how profound mass migration has been out of states like New York and New Jersey and Illinois and even California, and what a positive impact it's having on states like Florida, Texas, the Carolinas, Tennessee?
Well, first of all, Jack would have won 4 years ago, and he would have won tonight if you just take all the Republicans who've left New Jersey since I've been governor and moved to Florida. If they could have still voted in New Jersey, he would have won both of those races. Same thing with New York City. Maybe not a Republican, but, Giuliani would not be able to win with this electorate the way it is now. Because what happens, Sean, is a leftist politician gets in, whether it's destroying a state like California, Illinois, New York, whether it's a city like New York City or Chicago. And the people that it tends to drive off are the center-right voters. And so when they leave, the resulting electorate is actually more liberal. That's how you go from Lori Lightfoot to Brandon Johnson in Chicago, which is digging the hole deeper. That's why you've gone from 8 years at de Blasio, now leapfrogging here 4, to have Mamdani, who's even going to be worse. And what we found in Florida is, first of all, we're not asking for anyone to move. I mean, people have talked about putting a tariff on people moving in at this point because so many have done so. And I know a lot of people in Florida would think that would be necessary. But here's just the truth. You look at all 49 other states since I've been governor, look at who's migrated to Florida. All 49 more Republicans have moved to Florida than Democrats. Vermont, New York, Illinois, you name it. And the result of that is not just migration, because we've had a lot of people shift within Florida. But when I got elected, we had 300,000 more registered Democrats in Florida. Today, we have 1.4 million more Republicans. Nobody has ever seen a change that profound.
Well, Wall Street South is real. Every investment firm, every big bank, every private equity firm, they are all down in Florida. Anyway, Governor DeSantis, thank you.
See, a lot of people don't know that. I've been telling you guys that. Down in Miami, in Brickell Avenue, it's right downtown. Many of the Wall Street firms have redundant offices. They could shut down tonight at Wall Street in New York, and tomorrow open up down here in Miami. It is turnkey. It is amazing what they've done and how they replicated so many different things. I'm glad he talked about the number of explosion in Republican registrations. 1.3, it's going to continue to grow. I had gotten this comment from Vicky. Says, are you concerned New Yorkers moving to Florida will bring their blue state ideas? No. The ones that are blue staters are going to stay. Their nirvana has happened. That's the funny thing about it. The people who are liberals, they just got what they wanted. It's great. You're going to have communism. You're going to get all the stuff you wanted. The people leaving are the people who are like, I want no parts of this. I don't want no parts of this insanity. And they're getting out of Dodge. Getting out. Okay, we got a call here. There it is.
Democrat Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani to be its next mayor. Now, he will become the first Muslim mayor of the city and its youngest in more than a century. Not really a surprise. I don't know why people were waking up in the last, 2.5 weeks. I think they should have woke up after the primary where he...
Did you see the number of votes? The number of votes, total. I'm looking at 800, 100,000, 900, 1.6, 1.7 million people have voted. 75% of the vote is in. That means overwhelmingly most of the people didn't even vote. How could you not vote with the communists coming in? This is insane.
This debate, if he had another week or 2 weeks, would that have been enough to close the gap? And I'm not sure, based on the numbers we're seeing right now. Cuomo got his act together in the last couple of weeks. He was doing a lot more interviews. He was out there. And Sean, I will tell you, there's a reason why politicians spend a year in Iowa. They go out there to refine their message, to be able to answer every question on every topic possible and do it within 30 seconds time. Cuomo was out of political talking shape, period. Now, he got his sea legs under him in the last couple of weeks and showed up on Fox many times, showed up on MSNBC and CNN, made himself much more available. But there'll be pieces written as to whether or not this was the right way to run a campaign. And if you had another week or 2 weeks' time, could you have closed the gap on Mamdani tonight? And that's a question we'll never know, Sean, but it'll certainly be talked about and written about.
Bill Hemmer, amazing coverage. We'll get back to you at the big board coming up in mere moments.
You got it.
Let me see. Where are we going? Check it now. I think we...
Yeah. Letitia James is partying in New York City. You a piece of crap, you. Oh, my gosh. Ugh.
Martha, I keep bringing up all bad news for her state of New Jersey. If you would have asked me if somebody with the views of Zohran Mamdani could ever win and be mayor of New York City, I don't think I would have believed it a decade ago. I don't think I would have believed it 5 years ago, even with de Blasio in office. This, to me, now Hakeem Jeffries tried to distance himself and say, no, he's not going to be the face of the party. I think Democrats fear he, in fact, will very well be the face of the party. I think the Democratic Party, the real leadership, is Mamdani, AOC, the Squad, Jasmine Crockett, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. Am I wrong?
I think he's taken a lot of oxygen out of this election cycle. Mamdani has. Look at what happened with Hakeem Jeffries.
So here's something that's interesting. They're saying that the Democrats are probably going to cave and sign the CR on Wednesday or Thursday. If Mamdani is truly the new leader, along with AOC of the left, if that's where the party is, then why would they be caving? Unless Schumer did this just so that he can show everybody you're going to be screwed, and as a last move, he's going to cave and sign the CR. This doesn't make any sense. If you're the leader, you're going to tell him, no, keep going. We got to have all this stuff. We got to give the newcomers all this money. Good luck with him trying to negotiate with President Trump. The lawsuits are going to be flying. This is crazy.
Going to be in something that these candidates are going to have to at least answer, if not try to dodge.
Yeah, I think maybe to fine-tune the question for you, Martha, is has the Democratic Party shifted to the radical left? I would argue they have. I would argue people like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are leaders in name only. I think their time is probably limited in terms of being in power, if you want to call it that. I think they are beholden and afraid of a very radicalized base that is louder and seemingly now more effective. AOC, Bernie Sanders both went very hard for Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that, we all remember when Bernie Sanders was sort of this anomaly, a socialist senator in Vermont. But that's no longer the case. You have Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of the biggest city in New York, and we can talk in a moment about, he's a newbie in every sense of the word. He has never run anything before, and now he's going to run a $150 billion budget and 300,000 employees. But to your point, Sean, you have AOC, you have Mamdani, you have Bernie Sanders, you have a candidate in Kentucky, candidate in Minneapolis. You have a spread of this. I talked to Senator Fetterman today on the story, and to me, you've got that group that has energy and magnetism and is getting a ton of attention. And then you have John Fetterman, who has really risen to become a player in his party that represents something very different in Pennsylvania. He is not a Trump derangement syndrome candidate or senator, and he represents something different. So the party's going to have to see which way it's going to go. But I think that's where the energy is in those two places. And
let me just add that, to your point, the people who live here in New York City and your friends who are saying, Republicans all around the country saying that this was going to benefit Republicans somehow politically. For the people who live here, they have real concerns. You won't see that in the polls and young people, and even in the Jewish vote, it breaks Mamdani's way, which is pretty amazing. But you know who it's going to benefit? Elise Stefanik, who's running for governor, Republican in New York. She, tonight, is probably much more positioned better than she was yesterday because of this situation.
I don't know, Brett, if I quite agree with that analysis in this sense. And I honestly feel bad. I have friends of mine in New York. My phone is blowing up. They are officially depressed and scared. And as Martha pointed out earlier, a full 9% of people say that they will leave. If he in fact got elected before today, they said if he got elected, they're going to leave New York City.
I can tell you, my phone's buzzing. I'm not Sean Hannity. My phone is already, hey, I got to get out of here. I don't know why people waited until it actually got the election actually happened. They should have been making their moves a week or two ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. This was a foregone conclusion that they were going to turn this into a communist utopia. And now you're going to have to basically get into an auction, a bidding war per se. Remember, the people moving here have money. The people moving here are going to say, I know what's getting ready to happen. I'm telling Ashley, we are going to see people buying houses and buying condos sight unseen. Well, wire you the deposit. Do whatever you need to do. Lock that property up for me. It's coming. It is. Oh my God.
Jones will become Virginia's next Attorney General, defeating the Republican incumbent, Jason Miyares. Now, in October, you may recall, Jones apologized for text messages that he had sent where he imagined putting 2 bullets to the head of the Speaker of the House of Commons and then wishing the death of that lawmaker's children.
So what you're seeing right now, make no bones about it, Democrats don't care who you are. They don't care what you've said. They don't care what you've done. You could threaten people. You probably could have actually shot people. They don't care. Just be a Democrat. Just do what we need you to do. Don't worry about it. I don't care about your past. Don't care what you said. None of it matters. All that matters is winning this election and getting power. We're in a really bad way in some of these states. And I don't think it's just going to be a New York exodus. I think you're going to see an exodus in Virginia. I think you're going to see an exodus in New Jersey. Nobody's going to want to raise their kids around communism. And it's unfortunate because somebody put up a post. And the post that they put up was absolutely right. Because most of us can't get up and go. And that's absolutely true. Not everybody can just say, screw it, we're done. But the ones who can, will. The ones who have the wherewithal, they're not going to get taxed out the wazoo up there in New York and New Jersey. Not going to happen. They're going to be so fast out of there. They may keep a second home, but wait, they're not going to wait until Mondami tries to do some eminent domain and take their property from them as well. Remember, he wants to convert property into a commune-based type thing. He wants to take over the grocery stores. I can't wait to hear his speech. It'd be like Friday the 13th. Listening to when he gets up there and talks and we take his speech, just imagine you live in New York and you hear what this guy says. Let's see, what are we going to? Who's this talking? Do I know her? Oh, this is just bad.
For Jason Miyares, rather shocking in this case that Jones won this race to me. Brett, he did outperform.
I mean,
Winston
listen, he apologized. He came out and did an on-camera apology. He continued to campaign, saying it was, he was joking and moved on. But he was asked about it every stop, every interview he did. Abigail Spanberger was asked about it a lot of interviews. And yet, here you have it. I think it does show, to your point earlier, that Virginia is trending more blue than purplish right now. And does that have to do with the government shutdown? Does that have to do with all the government workers in Fairfax County? Does it have to do with a shift that we're seeing there? I don't know. Yeah. But President Trump's not on the ballot, and President Trump made Virginia very tight in 2024.
You know, one of my criticisms after 24, the Democrats, there was no introspection, there was no self-reflection, there was no course correction, as I say. I do see things that Republicans can learn from tonight, even though we're talking about, in my view, 3 very blue states. And I think the one big thing that pops off the page to me, Martha, is the economy. And I know the president has been doing any and everything, a very heavy lift on foreign policy. He laid the foundation for his economic success. He has his plan in place, but there is a lag period between putting that in place and actually seeing the growth that you want and are predicting that I believe will occur. I would like to see more talk about the economy moving forward from Republicans. I take it out of the exit polling. What do you take?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And, you know, this idea of affordability, which just basically means inflation, that prices are too high, and that's a real sensitivity spot for people, is, I think, something that Republicans do have to look carefully at. It's obvious that they're very aware of it. I saw James Blair today on with Larry Kudlow talking about how that he believes that what they're seeing in the future indicator economic numbers are very positive. Scott Bessent has implied the same thing. So obviously, before you get to the midterms, Republicans are going to want to work on making sure that that is tangible, that, you know, that people feel that increase. And I think, you know, if the economy is stupid, it ends up being the simple story of a lot of elections. And I think that's clearly one of the lines here.
You know, Brett, to add a little context to that, we have trillions in committed monies that the president has secured for manufacturing, and add to that bonus depreciation, which would incentivize companies to build faster. That would include automobiles, pharmaceuticals, that would include rare earth, and also semiconductor chips and things like that. Also, the largest tax cut in history. Reagan did it. We had 21 million new jobs created, massive economic growth, the longest period of peacetime economic growth in history to that point. And then you add the energy component, which I don't think you can fully calculate. So there are building blocks in place, I believe, for great economic growth. How soon will we see it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think, you know, the projection by Bessent and others is you get to first quarter 26 and you start to feel it. But there is this disparity. Big companies are doing great. If you look at Wall Street, they had some great runs there over the past few weeks, and the highest ever. But the disparity of feeling it in the lower section, in the folks who, you know, don't have a lot in the stock market or any, there is, you know, a push and pull of affordability and paying for things that has not equaled out. The tariff thing is a big part of the president's policies, which is why this hearing at the Supreme Court tomorrow, the beginning of this emergency decision that they're going to make on tariffs, is going to be really crucial.
All right, now, just for our audience knowledge, you guys will be taking over at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 minutes from right now. Brett and Martha, we have yet to hear from any of the candidates on either side. I'm sure you'll be carrying those speeches tonight.
All right, so as of right now, Mondami has not come up, and Mikey Sherrill haven't come up either. So we're waiting for both of those two people to come up. Again, this wasn't unexpected, but at the same token, I mean, it was blowout city. I mean, I didn't know it would be that bad. Looking at the numbers now, and Mikey Sherrill won by about 13 or 14 points. I mean, there was blowouts all the way around. And you know what's going to happen. They are going to say this is a repudiation of Donald Trump. Just a matter of time. You're going to start hearing that refrain over and over. Now, at the same token, Donald Trump isn't going to sit back and, like, you know, lick his wounds. He wasn't running. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Is Mondami coming out already? Looking down here. Now the people at his camp are just screaming and everything. Hold on. Who's this? 1 second. Now, premature screaming. Tomorrow, President Trump and SB had sent me some information. He has called all the Republicans to the White House to basically huddle as to what they're going to be doing and what they're going to be doing moving forward. This popped up tonight. I want you to see this.
Trump's focus has been on Senate Republicans, reportedly preparing to go nuclear on them if they don't nuke the filibuster, the rule requiring approval from 3/5 of the chamber to pass bills. One unnamed official telling Axios the president will, quote, call them at 3 o'clock in the morning. He will blow them up in their districts. He will call them un-American. He will call them old creatures of a dying institution. Believe you me, he's going to make their lives just hell.
Republicans need to play tough and they need to play smart. That's how the president feels.
Democrats, quiet.
Any concern around here that Democrats might actually want Republicans to get rid of the filibuster so that one day when they're in power again, the door's already open for them to pack the Supreme Court, give statehood to D.C. and Puerto Rico, make mail-in balloting permanent, those kinds of things?
We know that Democrats, if they are ever given a chance at power again in this city, they will absolutely take away the filibuster from the United States Senate.
Most Republicans are holding firm.
The job of a senator is also to kill bad ideas. We killed a lot of President Biden's bad ideas and using the blue slip, and I'm not going to vote to change.
I'm not going to vote to change it, he says. We're fighting a losing battle with some of these Republicans. Even the press, when they just said that, do they not understand? If they break the filibuster rule and they go with 51, they're never going to win again. Why would you worry about them? It's not like they're going to have all the newcomers to be able to do anything. If you go to voter ID, I don't know what would happen in these states if there was actual voter ID. I'm not sure about Virginia, but Jersey doesn't have any ID. New York, no ID. Just walk up, vote for whoever you want. It's insane. So just imagine, and there's no way to know because they're in charge of counting, but if you have to show voter ID, I just don't see how these people would ever get back into a realm of where they would be even competitive. These states and Washington, D.C. require no ID to vote in person. Look at these states. California, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Wyoming, and Washington, D.C. Make it illegal to check ID. Not only do you not need one, it's illegal if you do check ID. So if all of a sudden there's a law that says you have to have voter ID, none of those states can get away with what they've been getting away with. I don't understand how it's so simple to look at and gauge, yet the reporters are like, well, what's going to happen if they get back in charge? They'll never get back in charge. Something I told you guys earlier today, and I found this. Mondami said in 2020, each according to their need and each according to their ability. You know where that comes from, don't ya? You got where that comes from. That's straight from the Karl Marx book. He's the wolf in sheep clothing as people begin to dig in. That's what was said, and I was trying to break it to you guys earlier. Then he said this. Somebody went back. And I put, this is not an AI picture. Wait till you read this one. This one's great. When Cuomo refuses to tax the rich, he's refusing to let workers enjoy the wealth they created. When he says low taxes foster a business-friendly environment, he means an environment where it's easy for bosses to steal from workers. Taxation isn't theft, capitalism is. Get out of New York. So get out. Go to LaGuardia. Do what you need to do. Sell it all. Get out. Unbelievable. Taxation isn't theft. Capitalism is theft. If I didn't see that myself, I would not have believed it. It is that insane. That insane. Oh my gosh, man! People need to know what exactly is going on. Yeah, I just played that, Ashley. That Senator Kennedy said he would not gut the Senate filibuster rule. crazy. And then I want you to read something that General Flynn said. Please tell me one positive thing this Congress has done to advance the America First agenda. And I can't answer that for you. I can't even tell you what they've done to advance it. And one of the things that bothers me is that it just keeps happening. Well, conservatives have spent the last few weeks arguing with each other. Democrats just elected an attorney general who openly fantasizes about murdering us and watching our children die in our arms. These people are the enemy. What more do you need? Seriously, what more do you need? I'll ask you. You know, all of you, not all of you, but those of you who are like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear anything about this. If you heard somebody plotting to come kill you or your family, would you pay attention? If you knew specifically that was what was going to happen, I'd pay attention. This is Jack Ciarciarelli about to give his concession speech. And this is also Jackie's, Mikey, what's her name? Mikey whatever. She's going to be giving her acceptance speech while he gives his concession speech. So we got two people talking here at the same time. This Kamala-ish woman.
They always say we're loud, but man, with this vote, you guys just scream from the rooftops. And people around the country have heard you. I hear you too. This was a tough fight, and this is a tough state. But I know you, New Jersey, and I love you. I've fought for you. I've spoken with thousands of you over this last year. I know your struggles. I know your hopes. I know your dreams. So serving you is worth any tough fight I have to take on, and I am incredibly honored to be your next governor. When I was 18, I raised my hand and I swore to defend the Constitution. And that moment defines me. It taught me that leadership means carrying the weight of other people's hopes, standing firm when it's easier to bend, and always putting the common good above personal gain. And I know how hard it can be to serve in these times. And I just got a call from Jack Ciarciarelli, and I want to recognize him for stepping up. And all of you know, I love our history, and our state motto has always stuck with me. In 1777, New Jersey was one of the first states to choose a motto. Anybody? Liberty and prosperity. I'm going to get some more civics education going. We'll get that known by all. But it was a demand for freedom from oppression and a commitment to creating better opportunity and a better future. That idea has defined us for almost 250 years. We fought for liberty at the crossroads of the American Revolution, turning the tide for our young nation at the battles of Trenton and Princeton. We offered prosperity as we built the nation during the Industrial Revolution. We've been the cradle of scientific discovery, inventing everything from the light bulb to the laser. Liberty and prosperity. I've seen the genius in that motto over the last year because both are essential in our democracy. And as the president is backing away from this ideal, cutting SNAP, ripping away health care, terminating Gateway, we here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children. We see how clearly important liberty is. We know that no one in our great state is safe when our neighbors are targeted, ignoring the law and the Constitution.
But prosperity is equally essential. Liberty alone is not enough if the government makes it impossible for you to feed your family, to get a good education, or to get a good job. So in this country, that shouldn't be too much to ask. But right now, all of it seems at risk. Governors have never mattered more. And in this state, I am determined to build prosperity for all of our citizens. And I've heard from thousands of you about what liberty and prosperity mean to you, what it's going to take for your family to thrive. So I hear you, Newark. I'm going to work with communities from the ground up so all of our neighbors thrive. I hear you, Sham, so I'm going to declare a state of emergency on day one to drive down your utility costs. I hear you, Westfield, so I'm going to make sure our kids are safe online and schools have the resources they need to address the mental health crisis. I hear you, Jersey City, so I'm going to hold government accountable, balancing individual liberty with collective responsibility, ensuring people are safe, healthy, educated, and free to pursue their dreams. I hear you, New Jersey. Good government doesn't just manage problems, it solves them. So I'm going to continue to listen and work with you to move our state forward, because I have learned so much as I've traveled our state. Our innovations, our businesses, our inventors and entrepreneurs have amazed me, but it's the people that have left the biggest mark, especially those who are fighting for prosperity for their entire communities. I was moved during my block walk in Trenton with Shanique as she spoke so passionately about the promise of her city and her neighbors despite the challenges. I love the group of young men from Monroe who've been hard at work on this campaign.
New York City. When you break it down by age of the voter, the youth vote overwhelmingly went for Mamdani in this race. 75% of their support went to him. And when you break this down into gender, that number gets even bigger. The female youth vote, women under the age of 30, you break that down, that number goes over 80% support for Mamdani in this race. Other key findings that we're finding in the New York City mayoral race, what qualities were voters looking for in their candidate? This was a change election. 27% said they wanted to bring change to the city. And look at that. They supported Mamdani. 72% of their vote went to him. Couple other things I want to highlight here. Do you identify as a democratic socialist? Look at this number. This is 1 out of every 4 New Yorkers who cast their ballot identified as a Democrat socialist. Of course, you click on this and you'll see their support went to Mamdani in this race, 81% of their support there. Couple other things I want to highlight here, Mamdani versus Cuomo. This was basically a question that we put to voters when they cast their ballot, that if Sliwa was not in the race, and this was just a hypothetical two-way matchup, Mamdani versus Cuomo, Brett and Martha, it gets close, but Mamdani still got the edge in that hypothetical matchup. Just a couple of things that we're taking away from all of that tonight.
All right, Sandra, thank you.
So let's bring in our panel, Dana Perino, Shannon Bream, Harold Ford Jr.
You'll either find me right here on the streets of Central Jersey or one of my other favorite places, the beach in Surf City. New Jersey's been home for 100 years, and it will continue to be my home. And I look forward to seeing you all and working together once again to make sure that we effectuate the kind of change we so desperately need here in this state that we also love so very, very much. Guys, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you.
All right, so young people under 30 who recognize themselves as being socialists, probably a lot of college kids, Columbia, SUNY, a lot of those schools, Columbia. What have they done? What have they done? The only good thing about this is that more than likely, as much of the crap as Mamdani has said, he can't really do a lot of what he said. Maybe that'll piss people off, or then he'll blame it on Trump. It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault that I can't do what I need to do. I ain't got nothing to do with the Manhattan work. But, man, big night of taking the L. So I want to tell you about what's going on tomorrow as we wait for Mondami. Ashley sent me the schedule for tomorrow. Lisa goes, it matters because my mayor is a commie. You can vote it, but it can't vote it out. Nope, I completely agree with you at this point. It's going to be very hard to get Mondami out of there. Tomorrow's schedule, and this is crazy. President Trump is making a speech at 8:30 with a breakfast with the senators, Republican senators. So at 8:30, we're going to go live. 8 o'clock or so, we'll go live. See what he says tomorrow. Hopefully they drop the hammer and he gets them to do what he needs to do. Get rid of the filibuster. Then he comes down here. He'll be down here he lands in Miami at 12, and he gives a speech for the American Business Forum at 1 p.m. So we're going to do two shows. Tomorrow will be a quick one. Let's watch his speech, and then we'll cut it off. And then at 1 o'clock, we will go ahead and take his speech to the Business Forum at 1 p.m. So he's got two events tomorrow. I'm looking to see if he's posted anything about the losses. Yes, he has. All right, so let me bring this up. I knew he would be posting something about it. 1 second. Let me pull up the right screen so I can show it to you. Where is that screen? And here it is. This is the True Social that he just put out. Trump wasn't on the ballot, and shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight, according to pollsters. So they're saying that the shutdown did affect the vote tonight, which I don't think it did. And Trump wasn't on the ballot. So that's why they lost. No, I think they lost because the people up there are crazy. They're absolutely nuts. And that's exactly why I feel like they ended up losing, is because they did what they were going to do. They were hell-bent on installing this militant, radical communist, and that's exactly what they've done. Mikey Sherrill, she had some interesting things to say, which I found very interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard a Democrat talk about prosperity. She actually mentioned prosperity. I'm like, okay. Let me see what you do up there in Jersey. Maybe the people who want to get out of New York, but then again, your taxes are just too high as well, so I don't know what she's going to do. But everybody's waiting for the star of the evening, Zoran Mondami. You see how they timed this? They timed this perfectly so that they could, let him come out last. Here, let me check something.
He's able to allay some of those concerns starting this evening.
President Trump is weighing in. He just posted on Truth Social, quote, Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight. Charlie Hurt.
That's a very Trumpian message. And it's true. I would say that it certainly was not a bad night for Democrats. But I would temper it a little bit. If we sat back 6 months ago and sort of predicted the outcome of all of these races, we probably would have done a better job of getting it all right than you would by reading the polls in the last couple of weeks. Dana raised a great point, though, about the betting markets. It's like, who is it that's getting in late? I mean, they nail these things. Yeah. And even if the betting markets are wrong the day before the election, by the time, polls close, they are like within a tenth of a point. It does kind of, I'm suspicious enough, it makes me wonder whether or not it's not campaign people doing it. But look, if you go back 40 years, not only are Virginia and New Jersey both solidly blue states now, if you go back, their reputation for voters rejecting whatever party won the White House in the previous year is almost without fail. There have been two examples, one in each state over the past 40 years, where they haven't done that. So this is not to be unexpected. I don't think that it's not a bad night for Democrats, but I don't know that you can really spike the ball here. Certainly Democrats won the expectations game because of the last couple of weeks, but they still have monumental problems. Not only do you have a communist in New York City, and we'll see how he decides to govern, but you also have the Jay Jones in Virginia, that Republicans are going to be able to run against both of these people all across the country.
You know, Shannon, one of the things that President Trump has gotten a lot of traction on is the issue of crime, removing illegal migrants who are here who have committed crimes. And Mamdani, you know, has said some very dark things about the New York City police. We all remember Bill de Blasio having the police en masse turn their backs to him at a New York City police officer funeral. So that's one of the things that I think we're going to really be watching is this relationship with the police, because 9% are going to leave the city. It's going to be a huge percentage of police officers we know as well.
Yeah, and think about what he said about not working with the NYPD, working with ICE, not working together. And he said essentially wants to double down on the sanctuary city laws that you have here in New York City. And so for...
Oh, and I got to talk to you about the police. Well, another thing that Ron DeSantis is doing, he's looking to poach New York police officers. If you decide you want to come work down here in Florida, anywhere in the state, he's going to give you a $5,000 bonus just for taking a job. In addition to the higher salary, the less income tax, the whole 9 yards. Watch how many of these New York police officers end up taking that deal. $5,000 signing bonus. Just come on down to Florida and get on a force in here, and you'll get $5,000 just to do a signing bonus, in addition to higher pay, less taxes, better environment, the whole 9 yards. Let's look at this. All right, so anyway, waiting for Mamdani. Waiting on Mamdani. Let's see what some of you guys have to say, since we're on a commercial break here. Oh, I wanted to show you this too. It says, right as the polls are about to close, Senate Democrats are making moves toward reopening the government, with over 12 of the Democrats in serious talks to strike a deal. It was all a game. They used the shutdown to hopefully juice their leftist base turnout for the elections. So tomorrow, you can, they're probably already saying it. This is a full repudiation against Trump. Don't listen to him. This is New York, Virginia, and New Jersey. It was a long shot. It was an if the Republicans could have pulled this out. They couldn't do it. Looking to see what else is out here. I'm laughing, but this is sad. It's like, it's official. They forgot. After everything that happened, to say that we will never forget, it only took 25 years to forget it. There's a Statue of Liberty. Even the Statue of Liberty is leaving New York City and heading back to France. I think many of you guys have seen this that meme right there. F it, I'm moving to Florida. Oh, I'm just giddy with the opportunity down here. And so I'm going to put my exorbitance away, because I know not everybody is going to have that same ability, that same opportunity as we're going to see down here in Florida. I understand it. Even Sean, I was like, Sean, back up. Watching him gloat was like making me stop, because I'm like, Sean, there's a lot of people watching your show who can't move. They're stuck. What are we going to do about these people? What are we going to do about MAGA in Virginia? What are we going to do about MAGA in New York and MAGA in New Jersey? These people who are stuck, who can't leave. I almost feel bad, because it seems like they've been orphaned. We can't help them. They are stuck with a communist mayor. They are stuck with 2 Democrats, and Sponsberger is nuts. Mikey Sherrill, I don't know. She seems like Kamala-ish. How do we help MAGA in those 3 states? I don't know. I don't know what life will be for them in those 3 states. It's crazy. Someone said last week that the Democrats was waiting for their candidate to win, and then they'll want to open Washington or the government. Yep. Absolutely sad to see a commie run the largest city in America and turn it into Lendonistan. I completely agree. How long for the crime rate to soar in New York City? I give it 6 months. Well, I don't know when he gets sworn in. That's the other part of this. When does SV, if you're still here, could you look up and see when will Mamdani be sworn in? That's a little bit different. Tonight's the election. I don't know. Do you have to wait until January to get sworn in? Did you already do that? Let me see what he says here. Is Trump kind of admitting that the GOP sucks in his post? Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely is. Those were 3 subpar. Well, there was no Republican in New York. They didn't even put anybody up. Sliwa? And in Virginia, I know she was the lieutenant governor, but she had nothing really to say. And then Sear Telly in Jersey, he wasn't the strongest of candidates. So I think President Trump is right. SB is looking to see when does he get sworn in as mayor. That's going to be a very interesting date. Okay, good. That's good. All right, so let me tell you this. SV just looked it up. Mamdani won tonight. And it's just like the presidential election, he doesn't get sworn in until January 1st. January 1st, 2026 at noon. All right, well then, New Yorkers, now you got to get your acts together. You got 3 months before this guy gets into office, and you need to do whatever you need to do to make yourself, put yourself in a better position. U-Haul. Anybody own stock in U-Haul? Because you're going to need it. Can't wait for Gen C in New York to realize nothing is free. I agree. We need to get Elise Stefanik as governor so she can fire Mamdani. The golden age of New York City was when Rudy Giuliani was mayor and Pataki was governor and the New York Yankees were champs. Although being a Red Sox fan, I still can't agree with you. I can. All right, here, looking at some more numbers.
Well, here's your current results. 85% of races called. Cheryl leads by 13 points. Let me go ahead and remove that and show you, this is Jack Ciattarelli's election 4 years ago against Phil Murphy. Phil Murphy, the Democrat. This is one that shocked everybody, right? Everybody was watching Virginia and Glenn Youngkin take on Terry McAuliffe. Once that race was over, we put our eyes on New Jersey, and we were stunned to see that this race was as close as it was, okay? So Murphy was the eventual winner 4 years ago. Let me just put the pencil back up there. You see the pattern, guys? All right, that's 4 years ago, and this is now. And I was just looking at it, like the presidential results are very similar, too. If you pull up New Jersey from where you are right now, sorry, guys, let me rearrange that bad boy. All right. I think that was the first bad punch we had all night. OK, I mean, this is what Donald Trump did against Kamala Harris. Right. He flipped those counties in the South and he flipped those counties in the North. Right. Similar pattern. OK, then you come back to the governor's race this year. And, it just seems to me like these voters that I'm talking about here, they're up for grabs. And they made that pretty well known throughout the night tonight in New Jersey. Back on over there, guys.
All right, Bill. Thank you.
Let's bring in Britt Hume with his thoughts as we sort of digest where we are tonight. Britt, what's the big takeaway for you when you look at these 3 races?
Well, I don't think you ever need to look very far in our current politics without wondering what the effect of Donald Trump was and is. I was struck by what was coming out of Mikey Sherrill's campaign tonight, that he was a big factor in the race as far as she was concerned, and resistance to him was that. There was a number that was cited earlier from our polling data that showed that something like 70% of the voters on...
SB just got me a little data. And this should make you... When Zorhan is sworn in, he will be sworn in using a family Quran. A family Quran. He will be sworn in with the family Quran. And SB said he never thought he'd see this in his lifetime. I don't think many people thought they'd see this in their lifetime. Absolutely insane.
In next year, when we have a midterm election in which he will not be on the ballot, but the fortunes of his administration very much will be. So I think that's a factor coming out at night that we need to keep an eye on.
Britt, we were very sad that you weren't up here to give us the betting markets as we progressed.
And then I wanted to show you this. This is from a billionaire in New York City. Said billionaire blasts Mondami's New York City rent freeze plan. It's a hydrogen bomb. Hedge fund titan Cliff Asness torched New York Assemblyman Mondami's rent-free proposal, calling it a hydrogen bomb for the city's housing market and economy. He shredded the left-wing firebrand's proposed policy to ban price hikes for rent-stabilized apartments, while Mondami could potentially even benefit from his own rent freeze plan. Asness warned that the plan would devastate property value and drive landlords out, arguing that it's a shortcut to economic ruin. Mondami insists the freeze is about protecting renters, but Asness calls it economic arson in policy form. I would have to agree. And unfortunately, they're not going to care. They don't care. Burn it all down. We want free stuff. We don't want to pay rent. We want communal housing. We want communal groceries. That's what these kids have bought into. Have at it. New York is one of my favorite places. Robin loves Broadway plays. I love going to Times Square. Not anymore. We love going to see the Red Sox play the Yankees. We like to go to Yankee Stadium. It's more up to date than Fenway. But we go see the Yankees and Red Sox games. Not anymore. Have you ever been to Radio City Music Hall and see the Rockettes during Christmas? Not anymore. I'm not going. I'm done. I'm done. Don't want to fly through it. Don't want to land in it. Not something I want whatsoever.
We'll bring you that live when it happens. Stick around here on Fox News Election Coverage 25.
All right, so we're still waiting for Mondami to show up. He has not as of yet. I don't know. Constantine said, Barry, it's finished here. It's bad. It's absolutely bad. So I'm just waiting on Mondami to show up. While we're waiting for him to show up, let me show you a video, a little bit of what this guy was talking about today, because show you how much of a slime ball he really is. I mean, a serious slime ball. Let me show you this. Okay, here. So today there was bomb threats called. There were some bomb threats called up in New York. Now, whose fault would you imagine it would be if there were bomb threats to different precincts? Well, yeah, you know who he's going to blame.
And I think that it is an illustration of the attacks we're seeing on our democracy. Sometimes they're blatant and explicit in the manner of these bomb threats, and we have to understand this as part of the general approach the Trump administration has taken to trying to intimidate voters.
Donald Trump is threatened by our campaign. He's threatened by it because, like his, we've diagnosed the crisis in working class New Yorkers' lives, the cost of living. But unlike him, we're actually going to deliver on that. And that is a contrast that he can't bear to see. Because while he is spending $300 million remodeling a White House ballroom, the same amount of money that could provide SNAP benefits for 100,000 New Yorkers, he's trying to make it harder for Americans across the country to actually afford groceries. And this money that we're talking about, it's money that New York City is owed. It's not Donald Trump's to decide which city or state will get what money. This is the money that New Yorkers are owed, and this is the money that we're going to fight for.
Okay.
She just said, okay, he lied out of his ass. The money for the ballroom, for the 1,000th time, didn't come out of anybody's budget. It's being donated. And CNN, she's sitting right there and let him lie right to everybody. That's our money. We're owed it. No, you're not. That's not even Trump's money.
Question affordability in this city, living here is top of everyone's mind. It has gotten obscenely expensive to live here, to do anything here. So you're proposing free grocery stores, free buses, $30 minimum wage, all of which sounds incredible.
Cheaper groceries, not free groceries.
Excuse me, cheaper groceries. But what people want to know is, great, I would love all those things.
Yeah,
how do you pay for it? Who's going to end up footing the bill for those programs?
So I'll answer that question by first explaining some of the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has received. Elon Musk's...
They asked him a direct question, and somehow he's talking about Andrew Cuomo. This guy is a snake oil salesman, a complete snake oil salesman. Who's talking about Andrew Cuomo? They asked you how you're going to pay for stuff.
Endorsement is one of the most expensive endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has ever gotten because it cost him and the state of New York $959 million in tax breaks that he gave Elon Musk years ago when he was the governor of the state. That's actually more money than it would cost to make every bus free in New York City. So I've said clearly that I believe we should tax the top 1%, an additional 2%, that's New Yorkers making $1 million or more a year, and have the most profitable corporations pay the same tax rate they do at the top tier in New Jersey, what they would actually pay here in New York. These things together would pay for the entirety of our economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city. Because as you've said, the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has got, and this morning he started it by going on Fox and Friends, we're talking about Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Stephen Miller. These are the architects in many ways of the crisis of authoritarianism that New Yorkers are facing. And Andrew Cuomo is so unwilling to tax Donald Trump's billionaire donors because he knows those are the same ones whose checks that he's busy cashing trying to get back to City Hall.
Concerning like defunding the police, you obviously don't believe that anymore, right?
Yes, I've said that very clearly.
Said that time and again, right?
That we're not.
Anything to clarify. I mean, I'm not saying you said or did it, but clarify or say maybe I've learned how to be more careful.
By the way, we do this to Rev every time he's on the show, and then Rev will do it to me.
Right.
And we're both apologizing for things we said years
No,
ago.
I think I've said that you know the tweets that I wrote in 2020 around defunding the police, that's not the position that I hold, and I'm running for mayor to deliver public safety in partnership with the police department.
Right.
And there's also language that I've used in those same tweets, which I've apologized for to police officers directly.
I always vote since I became a citizen, and that was 20 years ago. And I migrated from Kenya originally. My family is back home in Kenya, and how I see how things are going on, like with families being separated. As a human being, as a mother, separating families, especially children, from their mothers or fathers, I don't believe in that. So that made me come out and also come and vote.
So that's one big issue. Another one is the government shutdown. Tens of thousands of government workers live here in Loudoun County. A lot of them told us that.
Should parents have the right to opt their kids out of LGBTQ-related content in the same way that right now they can be removed from sex ed and health curriculum classes?
Look, I believe that parents have the right to oversee their children's education. I would push in LGBTQ education into our schools. Parents have a right to opt out of a lot of things, but this is not an area where they should be opting out because
You shouldn't be opting out from having your kids immersed in that alternative lifestyle. Who the hell is she to tell you what your child should and shouldn't be exposed to? Parents shouldn't be opting out. That's who New Jersey just voted in. Somebody who says that she knows better than a parent. Wow.
This is an area of understanding the background of people throughout our nation. And right now we see, for example, at the Naval Academy, an erasure of history.
How much power does the Muslim vote actually have here in New York?
So Muslim vote is about 350,000. In the last election, it was about 200,000. Only 7% voted. In the primary, 31% of the Muslims voted, and out of that, Bangladeshi Muslims voted 42%. So just now, imagine if 50% of us voted, if 75% of us voted, we would be coasting. They would be at our feet, looking for us, looking to what to do for us, not just in symbolic, but in reality. That is the power of the Muslim vote.
Okay, forget what you just saw and morph. Change what you just saw and take the word out and put Christian instead. What percentage of Christians went out and voted so that this stuff wouldn't happen? I want someone to dig into that for me and say, what percentage of Christians came out and realized we do not want this stuff to be prevalent in our schools and in our cities? They had their game plan put together. They knew exactly where they were going to go. They knew what the margin they needed, and they went after it, and they got it. And don't think it can't happen where you live. Just watch the neighborhoods and see what they end up doing. Now, this is about SNAP.
Bills and food, now we're going to have to start making choices.
Carlicia Grice is one of more than 1.4 million North Carolinians who rely on SNAP benefits. She gets about $1,000 a month to feed her large family. But on Saturday, what happens next? It's been the only thing on her mind for the last few days.
Even that's not enough, and we're using cash to pay for food throughout.
$1,000 a month in food stamps. She gets free housing with Section 8, but even that's not enough. I can't believe it's not enough. I even had to use my own cash. Did she not realize she was on camera? Do you just want to reach out right now and just... What do you mean you had to use your own cash? I don't know if y'all heard that. Let me put it back so you can hear as she's complaining that she had to dig in her pocketbook.
Carlicia Grice is one of more than 1.4 million North Carolinians who rely on SNAP benefits. She gets about $1,000 a month to feed her large family. But on Saturday, what happens next? It's been the only thing on her mind for the last few days.
Even that's not enough, and we're using cash to pay for food throughout the month, even going to pantries and just trying to make the ends meet because it's just not meeting.
SNAP.
And I get people who say, I don't want to hear this. Oh, you need to hear this. You need to hear what these people are doing with your money. I can't believe I had to use my own cash. What kind of country is this? I had to use my own money to feed my family. Yeah, she just said that. Instead of saying thank you and please, she said, I can't believe I had to use my own money. What the?
Benefits are set to expire on November 1st. The federal government, through the Agricultural Department, sends the funds to the states. But money isn't available because of the government shutdown and a Senate stalemate between Democrats and Republicans. Grice says they're working as hard as they can to stay afloat.
People automatically assume when you get SNAP that you're just lazy. You're just sitting in the house collecting benefits off of taxpayers, but we are taxpayers too. They have to understand that, it's hard, especially when you have a big family. It's hard just to get a gallon of milk.
Did you not realize after, I don't know, you say big family, I don't know what that means. But after number 1 came, and then after number 2 came, was there any discussion as to maybe we should not have number 3 and number 4? Why is that? Because you can't afford it. Like regular people do. We can't have children yet. Why? Because you can't afford to have a baby. Did that cross your mind at all? Was that part of your financial planning? Or is it just like, we don't care, we're gonna bump fuzzies like animals and just let the government pay for it?
It's now $5. It's ridiculous.
She says earlier this week her family received a letter saying their Section 8 housing may not be funded in December if the government doesn't reopen.
I'm really nervous, honestly.
I know.
Okay, so let that sink in. Section 8, free rent, and free food. So I'm going to ask you, if you had your rent or mortgage paid free, it doesn't cost you anything, and you were getting $1,000 a month in food, which means she's also getting Medicaid, no doubt, basically a cradle to the grave eligibility here, everything is paid for, and now she's stressed out because all the free stuff might end. What do we do if we don't have no free stuff? Waiting for Mandami, but let's continue. This stuff is upsetting.
It's controversial for some. They're saying that it'll force millionaires to go out of the city and they're paying the majority of the tax. What do you say to those people?
I think that's baloney.
I think millionaires tend to not pay taxes, don't they? They tend to avoid paying taxes.
Yeah.
I don't think millionaires pay taxes. Maybe you might want to take a financial class and realize who's paying the expenses in New York City. And then you'll get the truth of the matter. And by the way, avoiding taxes is encouraged. I encourage you to avoid as much income tax as you possibly can. Notice the word I said. I said avoid. I didn't say evade. One is criminal, evade. One is encouraged. you should avoid paying as much income tax as possible. That's something that this idiot thinks is a bad thing.
Perhaps you or I could not successfully do.
And what about the government-run grocery stores? Do you think that that's a model that could work?
Yes.
And
I
why?
think there's too many hungry people and too many potatoes here that are $5 a pound.
I'm sorry, I don't eat many potatoes anymore. Too high in carbs. She doesn't give me potatoes. We get sweet potatoes once in a while, but we don't eat potatoes. So I just have to ask you, where are potatoes $5 a pound? Am I so out of touch not to realize because Robin does the shopping and we don't really eat potatoes? Are potatoes really $5 a pound? Well, I don't know if they are, but let me tell you if they were. If they were $5 a pound and I couldn't afford it, I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't even worry about it. Oh, $5 a pound for a potato? A potato?
Yeah, you got to lower the prices. Is there anything else about Zoran that gets you excited about him?
I'm excited that he gets young people excited, and I'm excited to see people standing in line, hopefully, to vote for something new.
And last thing, the number one comment I get on some of my videos is that socialism doesn't work. It's been tried many times. Why do you think it'll work?
This isn't socialism he's talking about, social democracy. You know, government should work to encourage people to thrive and be successful. Everybody thrive. It shouldn't be a matter of it should be equality, not supremacy. It should be a matter of bringing everybody up and not just having a few people with entirely too much money and too much decision.
Too much money. Equality. Everybody should have the same. Even if we start at different places, we all need to have the same. Who's stopping you? What? Is there a fence? Is there a wall? Is there some place that you're not allowed to go to, do better? They always say stuff like that, rich people, and, it's not fair. What's not fair? What's stopping you? If you guys ever looked in, like, some historical things and look at some of these really, really, really rich people, remember how Bill Gates started. If you don't know the story, go look up and find out where Bill Gates started. And then go look up where Steve Jobs started. And then while you're at there, go look and see where Elon Musk started. Oh, and then while you're at it, go look at where Mark Zuckerberg started. And then go look at where Jeff Bezos started. And I think you're going to find that almost all of them started in a garage. So you tell me, you can look at Bezos now with hundreds and gazillions of dollars. You can look at Mark Cuban even, who's got gazillions of dollars. But don't look at them today, because today it intimidates you. Today you look at that and go, oh, Mark Cuban, yeah, he's got a gazillion dollars. Bill Gates, everybody, they all got so much money. They're all too rich. Don't look at them today. I want you, with a homework assignment right now, in case you don't know, to go look how each one of those men started. I want you to go look, what's her name? Sarah Blakely, I believe, the woman who invented Spanx. Go look how she started. Don't look now. Don't look at her $1 billion that she has now. Go back and look how she started. And then when you look at each one of these individuals, when you go back and look at Bezos and Zuckerberg and Elon and Bill Gates, every single one, Steve Jobs, when you look at how each one of these people started, tell me how you couldn't do it. The only reason you couldn't have done what Gates did and what Elon did and all the rest is because you may not have the intelligence to actually begin what they did. How many of you guys know the story of Mark Cuban, how he got so super rich? He wasn't a captain of industry. Mark Cuban created a website. He created a website and he named it broadcast.com. And it was like the baby, the infancy of podcasting and music broadcast. You can start a radio station. And he created that, a website. How did Facebook start? It was a website. How did Amazon start? Yep, a website. Let me keep going. How did Elon make money? Oh, PayPal, a website. Every single one of these guys, Bill Gates made Windows. They started with nothing. And so when people fixate on the finished product, I'm like, oh, they're all billionaires. Don't start there. Go back to and look at their start, look at what they did, and look at their progression. What did they do? Doesn't really cost much to start a website today. You could start a website tomorrow, and you know what? Maybe in 6 months, somebody says, hey, listen, I like your idea. You're selling widgets, and your widgets are some of the best widgets I've ever seen. I'll give you $1 million to help you grow that widget company. Yes, that's how it happens. I don't know what your particular widget would be, but I don't know. How did DoorDash start? How did Instacart start? How did all these things happen? They're just websites. And they had to get people to develop the code and everything else, yeah. Look what Travis did. Travis was the founder of Uber. Our biggest companies have no assets. The biggest hotel companies in the world right now don't own any hotels. And I'm talking about Airbnb and Vrbo and something like that. The biggest taxi company in the world, hey Midas, doesn't own one taxi. That would be Uber. When you look at it that way, and I don't know if some of you just knew what I just said, the biggest hotel company in the world, Airbnb and Vrbo, own no hotels. Biggest taxi company across the globe, Uber, doesn't own any taxis. So you tell me.
Well, I think what you're seeing is a civil war in the Democratic Party that has been brewing for a while. You have an extreme radical left that is run by the socialists that is challenging what they would call moderate Democrats. I'm a moderate Democrat. And that contest is what you're seeing here, but you're seeing it all across the country. The far socialist left challenging the moderates. I'm a Democrat like Mario Cuomo, like Bill Clinton, like Barack Obama, like John Kennedy, like their other grandfather, Robert Kennedy. That's my school of democratic politics. And that's what I'm fighting for.
Your head is right.
All right, Democrats are not extreme socialists. We're not against the police. We don't believe the NYPD are racist. We don't believe they should be abolished. We don't believe in abolishing jails. We don't believe in doing away with misdemeanors. We don't believe in decriminalizing prostitution. That is not us. We are a party of law and order. David Dinkins, great Democrat. First thing he did when he took office, hire more cops, keep New Yorkers safe. So that's the contest you see happening here. I think if the far left socialists were to win, I think long term it would be very detrimental to the future of the Democratic Party. This country is not a socialist country. The city is not a socialist city. The state is not a socialist state. Socialism has never worked anywhere on the globe. Not Venezuela, not Cuba. It's not going to work in New York City.
How'd you go?
You said.
And they voted against that. They voted against it. Everything he said actually made sense. I'm not an Andrew Cuomo supporter, but everything he just said about socialism is 100% true. It doesn't work. But that message did not prevail. And so here we are waiting for a commie to come up and give his raving acceptance speech as the winner in New York.
Tonight, Sean, is obviously all about turnout. Republican voters need to show up. They need to turn out. Regardless of what happens in New Jersey, that is a stunningly close race for a deep blue state. As far as New York is concerned, as you talked about, as we've said, unfortunately, the anti-Mamdani vote is being split between Cuomo and Sliwa. And President Trump tonight put out a statement being clear that if you vote for Sliwa, who's polling at about a third of where Cuomo is, you're just throwing your vote away. The anti-Mamdani vote, which is really the pro-New York City vote, the pro-America vote, needs to unite behind the leading candidate, and that's Andrew Cuomo. Now, Virginia, of course, has become over time a very blue state for a lot of reasons. Part of it, of course, is years of open borders. Another big reason is the concentration of the Democrat workforce and the huge growing bureaucracy that is Washington, D.C. in North Virginia. But this race has been crystallized, and it relates to what you first asked me about, by Jay Jones, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General, openly fantasizing about the murder of his political opponents and their children, fantasizing about their pain, their suffering, their heartache. This is a referendum on Jay Jones and the ideology of murder that has become too prevalent amongst the extreme left in this country.
And he won. With all of that, he won. With this guy threatening people's family, people's children, they look the other way, as long as he's a Democrat.
City resident, tell me why you decided to vote for Andrew Cuomo.
I decided to vote for Andrew Cuomo because he has a lot of experience. He's been the governor of New York, and I feel like we don't want our city to go in a direction that's not, important for businesses as well as our regular everyday New Yorkers.
Obviously, Mr. Cuomo is not the front runner, according to just about every poll that's out there. You look at Zohran Mamdani is the front runner. What do you think of him as a candidate? And none of the things that he was talking about appeal to you: affordable housing, making health care for children more affordable, free buses. None of that appealed to you and what you were looking for in a mayor?
Well, I don't think nothing is free. With a background in finance and economics and business, I know that it's important that you have to pay for things. Even if you're paying for it at a discounted rate, you need to be able to pay for it. I don't think nothing is given free. I think
how somehow do people our age know that there's nothing free? How did we live our lives understanding if you want something, you got to buy it? If you get a discount, that's one thing, but it's not free. You have to pay for it. These young kids today, they think everything should be given to them free. They think free is a real concept.
it's important that we all should be able to work. I think job creation is the key to all of it. We must create jobs. We must put our people back to work. New Yorkers need to work, and that's what I think Governor Cuomo will do for us. He'll help us to get our jobs back and help keep our businesses here in the city of New York.
And Mr. Jackson, one final question. What happens if Mr. Mamdani ends up being the city's next mayor? What are your thoughts about what his relationship might be like with President Trump?
I don't know if it's going to be that great, because I think President Trump, definitely wants to make sure that New York is in good hands. He's a New Yorker himself, and I feel like he wants to make sure that New York is in great hands. So it's important that age is important. I feel like we can't run things if we are not in a good age. I think 40 is pretty much the best age to run if you're running for mayor of this great city. If you're younger than 40, I don't think you can really do what we need. Age brings about wisdom.
Mr. Jackson, I want to thank you very much for your thoughts.
So President Trump has just posted again. Remember, tomorrow at 8:30, he has summoned all the Republicans to the White House for breakfast. And he just posted this. Republicans, terminate the filibuster, get back to passing legislation and voter reform. President DJT. That's at 10:41 p.m. 12 minutes ago. So he's not stopping. He wants them to break the filibuster. And on the GOP, they've got weak knees. So what you guys should be doing is making sure everybody knows that we want them to break the filibuster. Go nuclear. This should be a wake-up call. This shouldn't cause you fear. This should cause you to get motivated to take these people out now. Don't wait. Don't think it can get better. No, they're going to screw America given their opportunity to do so. It's coming.
Gentleman on the right-hand side, that is Stephen Moore. Okay, Stephen, Mamdani is likely to win. Trump says he'll restrict federal payments to New York if he does win. So is the city headed towards a grave financial crisis?
Yeah, it's 1975 all over again, isn't it, Stuart? Listen, if you look at the statistics, what has happened to New York, and by the way, New Jersey as well. There are big elections in both of those states. Those are the two of the three states that have lost the most people over the last decade to other states in terms of migration and have lost the most money. So let me give you this statistic. It'll blow you away, Stuart. Over the last decade, New York State, and most of those residents came from left New York City, has lost $500 billion in purchasing power and taxable income. New Jersey, the numbers are not much better, $150 billion lost. My point is that you cannot have New York City as the financial capital of the world as it has been for the last 150 years if they have the highest taxes in the world and the most regulations on that financial capital. I have predicted on your show, and I will say it again because this is election day, if Mamdani wins this election, Wall Street will no longer be located in New York City. You're going to have a Wall Street in Dallas, Texas, or you're going to have a Wall Street in Miami because people won't take it and they will leave.
So you're not a New Yorker, but you've heard.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, bring them down. Come on down here. Can't wait. Can't wait. Oh, that would be just too awesome. That would be too awesome. But these are the type of people that are voting for Mamdani.
A lot about the New York mayor election. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
I have a lot of friends who live in New York. I get a lot of the news from the elections on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And Mamdani obviously has a really fun and great presence online. Mm-hmm. And also just with the history of New York's previous mayors, mm-hmm. It seems like a pretty clear choice to me. Mm-hmm. If I was in New York, I'd vote for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what are your friends? What are they most excited about Mamdani?
I think they're all excited to see a fresh face to represent New York. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really nice just seeing him going out and campaigning and polling with the people, just seeing him in random places. I saw a video of him at a club in Brooklyn last night, which is really funny.
Mm-hmm. He was a rapper too, I think.
He was?
Yeah.
I don't know, he just seems like a great guy, a genuine guy, and I like how he relates to the people, which I think is a big thing.
That club he was in, just so you guys know, was, how do you say, an alternative lifestyle club. He showed up in one of those clubs late last night. And Mr. Purse Boy here, he loves the idea that he showed up in that club. Whew. That's the Mamdani crowd. They don't have any clue whatsoever. Now, this last piece, I showed you this last night, or I don't know if you guys remember it, but this is it.
The grocery store capitalists, which have quite a powerful lobby, right? One of the grocery store bosses, he said of Gristedes, right? Mm. He said that he was going to pull out of New York City if Zoran won, right? We would say, sure, pull out, and we will take over your grocery store.
Wait a second. Wait. I don't. What in the hell is that? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me run it.
Of Gristedes. Right? Mm. He said that he was going to pull out of New York City if Zoran won, right? We would say, sure, pull out.
Why is the guy interviewing him look like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction? Why is he wearing... God help us. God, this can't be happening in New York City. Oh my goodness. The Gimp from Pulp Fiction is doing the interview here.
And we will take over your grocery stores, right? And we will use them for cheaper groceries, and we will take over the entire food industry because that's something that can be done if the working class is organized.
Mm-hmm. Gender ideology in school whatsoever, let alone to our elementary age children. Governor Murphy ushered in these ridiculous standards years ago, and we fought as parents and were not heard.
It's too late. You lost. And she's going to force your children to be indoctrinated in the ways of the LGBTQISSIIPPI. You will be indoctrinated. That enough would make me pack up and leave. I would tell Robin, if we had a baby here, hey, guess what? We're leaving tomorrow. We'll pack all the stuff up. I'll come back, whatever. We need to get out of here. she's going to force that ideology into schools. All right, so if that's not bad enough, let me show you something that just happened a little while ago.
So the Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, did not endorse in this race. He did not endorse Mamdani and wouldn't say how he voted. What's your response to that?
Well, what I think is so impressive about what Zohran Mamdani accomplished tonight, as well as the entire movement of New Yorkers that came out to vote for him, is that he had to not just defeat a Republican, he had to defeat a Republican and the old guard of the Democratic Party at the same time. He was fighting a war on two fronts and not just one. And he still won resoundingly. And I think the message that sends is that the Democratic Party cannot last much longer by denying the future, by trying to undercut our young, by trying to undercut a next generation of diverse and upcoming Democrats that have the parties, the actual party, our actual electorate and voters support.
All right, we have to go, but I have to ask you because Republicans.
All right, so she's saying you will accept socialism. That's it. The Democrats have decided that's. I'm sorry, I got discombobulated. I'm looking at the video of the party where Mamdani is going to be speaking momentarily, and it looks like something out of a zombie apocalypse movie. It's all young kids. They all got these yellow hats on and stuff. Here, you look for yourself here. Oops, wrong button. Wait a minute, wrong button. Sorry. Let me show you the zombie apocalypse. Look at them all. They got yellow like beanies on and stuff. And I'm not sure what he's waiting on. I mean, they called the race probably about 45 minutes ago, and it says he's soon to be addressing the crowd, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. All right, give me a second here. I'm gonna play some of this. No, I'm not. Well, it appears that Fox News basically cut their feed of the they stopped talking about their election. Oh, okay. This is a big one. Some of you guys asked about California.
50. It was a big victory. Yeah, of all the races nationally, this one could have the greatest impact because it could allow Democrats to stop the Trump agenda on energy, immigration, trade, and taxes starting next year. How? Now, remember, California is deep blue. Democrats here outnumber Republicans almost 2-1. Multiple billionaires helped Governor Newsom outraise opponents twice as much. Unions, nurses, teachers, the SIU got out the vote. City, county, and state Democrats dominated local news coverage. So no one would be surprised if Prop 50 wins by double digits. So what does it do? Well, if Prop 50 passes, Democrats believe they can pick up at least 5 congressional seats, starting up north. Congressman Doug LaMalfa and Kevin Kiley, David Villado in the Central Valley, Ken Calvert and Darrell Issa in the South. Now, currently, Republicans control 9 of 52 House seats. On the right, you're going to see Prop 50. Republicans may hold just 4 of those seats, representing 6 million registered Republicans. That's more than all the registered voters in 24 states. Now, on the left, I'm going to show you some districts. District 1, on the right, Prop 50 will cut off rural Republicans in the north and replace them with wine country liberals. District 2 dips into liberal San Francisco to outnumber farmers and ranchers up north. The bottom line is Democrats have made this a referendum on the president, and it appears not the partisan power grab that it actually is. Republicans here, as you can see, already an endangered species. With this, they could be closer to extinct. Yeah, they are endangered, that is for sure. William, stand by, if you will. Let's bring in California Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton, California GOP delegate Elizabeth Barkahana, Fix California senior advisor Katie Zachariah, and board certified medical doctor Human Hamadi. Thank you all for coming on. First opinion goes to Steve Hilton because he's running for governor in this state. Steve, it really is. It's one of those things where I don't think a lot of people, except Elizabeth Barkahana, maybe who worked so hard on this, I don't think a lot of people expected Proposition 50 to go down.
Look, this is a massive miscalculation by Gavin Newsom. He thinks he's won tonight.
he's the loser long term, because what he did here has two effects. Nationally, it has prompted more redistricting by Republicans around the country. He can't even do the math. He may have gained 5 tonight if this result is confirmed, but there are going to be many more than that from other states prompted by what Newsom started here. And so this could be, tonight, Gavin Newsom, the person who guaranteed that President Trump and the Republicans hold the House next year. The second thing he's done is fire up the Republican Party and voters up and down this state who are sick of this corrupt machine.
In addition to that, I think he has given President Trump a hammer to go into this meeting tomorrow with the Republicans and say, you see, you have no choice but to drop the hammer on these people. You have no choice but to break the filibuster. We can't let this keep happening. You see what they're going to do. He then posted this on Truth Social. It says, pass voter reform, voter ID, no mail-in ballots, save our Supreme Court from packing, no two-state edition, terminate the filibuster. So it's 11 o'clock at night, and President Trump is still posting and telling them, you gotta terminate it. After seeing what happened with this Prop 50, it's not going to stop. I don't understand why the Republicans in other areas haven't jumped all over this and been doing it themselves. Again, they're being weak. They're being completely weak. Let's listen to this.
Of the lines, and I voted that way because my understanding is the way the Republicans in Texas and other states are gerrymandering, it makes it virtually unfair, and this is the only way to fight fire with fire.
He never liked California, and we got to get them. We got to beat them. Prop 50, everybody yes.
We're voting to keep Donald Trump from turning our voting system into a bleep, bleep.
I mean, there you have it, right? The whole thing is to get Trump, like Tom Steyer did, these national ads, and then California, stick it to Donald Trump, Elizabeth Barkahana.
Those who helped build this movement into what it's become. New York City DSA. Jewish Voice for Peace Action. And please give it up for our friends at the New York Working Families Party who have been such a leader in our long fight for an affordable, livable city. Now, do we have labor in the House? Throughout this campaign, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and sisters in organized labor at 1 a.m. in Queens, at 4 p.m. in Manhattan, at 6 a.m. in Brooklyn, at every time of day and night in every corner of the city, and we are so grateful for your partnership. And we are so proud to be backed by dozens of elected leaders, from the local to the state to the federal level. And we know that the relationships that we have built will only deepen from City Hall as we work together to transform New York into a city where every person can live a dignified life. I also want to thank our incredible campaign staff. You have sacrificed your social lives and your sleep schedules, and you have given so much to this movement, and then when Cuomo decided to get back into the race, you dug deep and gave more. I have been so honored to work with you, learn from you, and support you as you have faced unprecedented scrutiny and at times ugliness and threats from our opponents. You have built a historic campaign, so please give them all a round of applause. And please join me in celebrating the person who has been Zoran's right hand from day one, whose deep commitment to our movement and care for our people has infused every part of this campaign from top to bottom, and without whom we would not be here tonight, Elle Biscard Church. have all been inspired by Zoran as a candidate, but I also want to speak to his strength as a person. He has led our team and this movement with grace, curiosity, good humor, and thoughtfulness. And this race has been difficult. He has been the subject of attacks and threats, but he has truly risen above it all to give us hope. So please join me in giving Zoran, our friend, a round of applause. And there are too many supporters to name, so I want to speak to everyone directly. Please raise your hand if you have given to this campaign, whether that is time, labor, knocking a door, hosting an event, creating art. And if you are one of the this is beautiful. And if you are one of the tens of thousands of people who contributed but cannot be with us tonight, this is for you as well. You have made history. You set unreachable goals and then exceeded them. You believed in this city and believed in each other. And you achieved something that people will speak of for decades to come. You led with kindness and compassion.
Prop 50. 82% of the case, 8 out of 10 voters say it was to counter the GOP changes, not because they saw it was the best way to draw those district lines. Now, if you go back and look at those who said no to the vote, they said their reasoning to do so was that they saw this as not the best way to draw those district lines, while only 34% said it was to stop the Democrats from adding seats in Congress. A couple other things we're taking away from what voters said there in California. We asked the voters and how they would actually like to see these lines drawn. The irony of this, Trace, is that 9 out of 10 voters, even more so, said they'd like to see this done by a nonpartisan commission, not the party in power. Well, that was preempted with the outcome of this vote. A couple other things I'll show you before I hand it back. We also asked what the president's influence was in your vote, the reason behind your vote. Well, more than half said the reason for their vote in Prop 50 in California was to oppose Donald Trump. I'll leave you off with one other top finding from the evening, Trace, and that is this, sort of a look ahead to the presidential race in 2028, because, of course, Gavin Newsom has made his intentions very clear. Well, we asked those voters, would they like to see this person run in 2028? 45% said Gavin Newsom. Appetite not as big for Kamala Harris. Just a few things that were taken away from your beautiful state, Trace.
Sandra, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Sandra Smith live for us in New York. Back to the panel now.
Thank you. This is very exciting. Thank you, everyone. I'm Tasha, and I've had the honor of being the field director on this campaign. I first crossed paths with Zoran in 2017 on a city council campaign for Kader El-Yateem in Bay Ridge. Zoran was the paid canvas manager, and I was volunteering on the campaign as a member of New York City Democratic Socialists of America. I don't think that we could ever have imagined that 8 years later, we would be here on election night for a mayoral campaign, 104,000 volunteers strong. 104,000 volunteers. We love numbers, we love metrics, but I want to talk first about what's behind those numbers. Every number is, in a way, an act of bravery. Door knocking is not the easiest thing. For many, including myself, it takes a moment of bravery at the beginning, asking a stranger something about their lives and sharing something about yours. Sharing what you want to see in the world, it can be daunting. thousands of people did it. And every time, every volunteer went to a door and talked to a stranger, they offered their vision to that stranger and invited that stranger to be a part of shaping their vision. We love strangers. Every door knock and every phone call is a statement of belief that politics is for all of us. This campaign and this city is all of ours to shape. I also want to say something about field leads. All of our canvases, for those who don't know, all of our canvases have been led by volunteers we call field leads. Many of them are here. Most led a shift every week, and some led a shift every week since December. And every time they led a canvass, and they were the ones welcoming new volunteers into our movement. They were the ones who helped inspire folks coming out to canvass for the first time. Without those 700 people who chose to step into leadership in an uncertain moment and try something new and scary, this field operation at this scale would not have happened. Those 700 people prove that leadership isn't about having all of the answers. It's about the willingness to step into the unknown and inspire others to imagine something better. So here are the numbers. Over 104,000 volunteers made over 4.4 million calls. At around noon today, a volunteer knocked our 3 millionth door. Over 700 field leads have led over 5,700 canvasses in 243 neighborhoods. 6,568 voters signed up to volunteer on the spot when they were canvassed by somebody. 8,389 voters signed up to volunteer when they were asked by a phone banker. These are unprecedented numbers. The bravery that you all have shown, that this field operation carried across all 5 boroughs, is going to transform our city. What all 100,400 of us have accomplished has rewritten the possibilities of mass democratic action. And it doesn't stop tonight. We all know that we won't stop at electing Zoran. We will continue to fight to bring the affordable of New York City to life. I am so excited to do that with all of you. And now I'm so honored to introduce the person you've been waiting to hear. We've worked for many years to bring about change in New York City that it so urgently needs. He's been a friend, and he is the next mayor of the greatest city on earth, Zoran Mamdani.
I turned it down while his crappy music is playing, so I don't have anybody come after me. Ugh. Can you believe they're coming for everybody? The more cities. They are definitely coming for more cities.
Thank you, my friends. The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City. And that is because of you. So before I say anything else, I must say this. Thank you. Thank you to the next generation of New Yorkers who refuse to accept that the promise of a better future was a relic of the past. You showed that when politics speaks to you without condescension, we can usher in a new era of leadership. We will fight for you because we are you. Or as we say on Steinway, ana minkum wa ilaykum.
Oh, God.
Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point, know this. This city is your city, and this democracy is yours too. This campaign is about people like Wesley, an $11.99 organizer I met outside of Elmhurst Hospital on Thursday night. A New Yorker who lives elsewhere, who commutes 2 hours each way from Pennsylvania because rent is too expensive in this city. It's about people like the woman I met on the BX 33 years ago, who said to me, I used to love New York, but now it's just where I live. And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver I went on a 15-day hunger strike with outside of City Hall, who still has to drive his cab 7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now. This victory is for all of them, and it's for all of you. The more than 100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force. Because of you, we will make this city one that working people can love and live in again. With every door knocked, every petition signature earned, and every hard-earned conversation, you eroded the cynicism that has come to define our politics. Now, I know that I have asked for much from you over this last year. Time and again, you have answered my calls. But I have one final request. New York City, breathe this moment in. We have held our breath for longer than we know. We have held it in anticipation of defeat. Held it because the air has been knocked out of our lungs too many times to count. Held it because we cannot afford to exhale. Thanks to all of those who sacrificed so much, we are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn. To my campaign team, who believed when no one else did, and who took an electoral project and turned it into so much more, I will never be able to express the depth of my gratitude. You can sleep now. To my parents, Mama and Baba, you have made me into the man I am today. I am so proud to be your son. And to my incredible wife, Rama, Hayati, there is no one I would rather have by my side in this moment and in every moment. To every New Yorker, whether you voted for me, for one of my opponents, or felt too disappointed by politics to vote at all, thank you for the opportunity to prove myself worthy of your trust. I will wake each morning with a singular purpose: to make this city better for you than it was the day before. There are many who thought this day would never come, who feared that we would be condemned only to a future of less, with every election consigning us simply to more of the same. And there are others who see politics today as too cruel for the flame of hope to still burn. New York, we have answered those fears. Tonight we have spoken in a clear voice. Hope is alive. Hope is a decision that tens of thousands of New Yorkers made day after day, volunteer shift after volunteer shift, despite attack ad after attack ad. More than 1 million of us stood in our churches, in gymnasiums, in community centers, as we filled in the ledger of democracy. And while we cast our ballots alone, we chose hope together. Hope over tyranny. Hope over big money and small ideas. Hope over despair. We won because New Yorkers allowed themselves to hope that the impossible could be made possible. And we won because we insisted that no longer would politics be something that is done to us. Now it is something that we do. Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new. So let us speak now with clarity and conviction that cannot be misunderstood about what this new age will deliver and for whom. This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt. Central to that vision will be the most ambitious agenda to tackle the cost of living crisis that this city has seen since the days of Fiorella LaGuardia. An agenda that will freeze the rents for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. Make buses fast and free. And deliver universal child care across our city. Years from now, may our only regret be that this day took so long to come. This new age will be one of relentless improvement. We will hire thousands more teachers. We will cut waste from a bloated bureaucracy. We will work tirelessly to make lights shine again in the hallways of NYCHA developments where they have long flickered. Safety and justice will go hand in hand as we work with police officers to reduce crime and create a department of community safety that tackles the mental health crisis and homelessness crises head on. Excellence will become the expectation across government, not the exception. In this new age we make for ourselves, we will refuse to allow those who traffic in division and hate to pit us against one another. In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light. Here, we believe in standing up for those we love. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, a single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with their back against the wall, your struggle is ours too. And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election.
New York is screwed. They are completely, utterly screwed.
This new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. For years, those in City Hall have only helped those who can help them. But on January 1st, we will usher in a city government that helps everyone. Now, I know that many have heard our message only through the prism of misinformation. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent to redefine reality and to convince our neighbors that this new age is something that should frighten them. As has so often occurred, the billionaire class has sought to convince those making $30 an hour that their enemies are those earning $20 an hour. They want the people to fight amongst ourselves so that we remain distracted from the work of remaking a long broken system. We refuse to let them dictate the rules of the game anymore. They can play by the same rules as the rest of us. Together, we will usher in a generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves. After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one.
Oh my God.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us. When we enter City Hall in 58 days, expectations will be high. We will meet them. A great New Yorker once said that while you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. If that must be true, let the prose we write still rhyme, and let us build a shining city for all. And we must chart a new path, as bold as the one we have already traveled. After all, the conventional wisdom would tell you that I am far from the perfect candidate. I am young, despite my best efforts to grow older. I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist. And most most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this. And yet, if tonight teaches us anything, it is that convention has held us back. We have bowed at the altar of caution, and we have paid a mighty price. Too many working people cannot recognize themselves in our party. And too many among us have turned to the right for answers to why they've been left behind. We will leave mediocrity in our past. No longer will we have to open a history book for proof that Democrats can dare to be great. Our greatness will be anything but abstract. It will be felt by every rent-stabilized tenant who wakes up on the first of every month, knowing the amount they're going to pay hasn't soared since the month before. It will be felt by each grandparent who can afford to stay in the home they have worked for, and whose grandchildren live nearby because the cost of childcare didn't send them to Long Island. It will be felt by the single mother who is safe on her commute and whose bus runs fast enough that she doesn't have to rush school drop-off to make it to work on time. And it will be felt when New Yorkers open their newspapers in the morning and read headlines of success, not scandal. Most of all, it will be felt by each New Yorker when the city they love finally loves them back. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... Let the words we've spoken together, the dreams we've dreamt together, become the agenda we deliver together. New York, this power, it's yours. This city belongs to you. Thank you.
If you didn't know before this speech and you live in New York, get the hell out. I felt like I was watching Satan himself speak. I feel so bad for the people up there who can't get out for what's coming in January. Be ready. Earlier, we were wondering what was taking him so long to come out. The fight has begun. Somebody hacked his screen, his backdrop. They hacked his backdrop, and it says, "Trump is your president." But that's not what I want you to. I don't want to close with that. That's a joke. I want to close with something because our president has put out a warning. It is clear that it is a warning. It is a clear message to the rest of the Republicans. It is not something you want to F around with. This is not something that you can look at and say is cute. This is not something that we can get over. This is something we must exterminate politically. And President Trump, with just 4 words, just 4 simple words. Where is it here? And so it begins. That's the entirety of his post that he just put up at 11:34, 10 minutes ago. And so it begins. Now, you know why everything I've been saying over the last couple days. Why some people got their panties in a bunch. Why some people didn't get it. I'm tired of telling you. You better get it now. It is on. He has just empowered a legion of newcomers. He has just empowered a legion of the so-called tolerant people. They're not going to stop with New York. This has to be stomped out like a virus that it is. They feel emboldened now. And I don't know what these people in business in New York are going to do. Especially if you own real estate. It's going to tell you you can't. You can't raise rent. We're going to take your property. You can't charge this much. You're going to have to pay $30 an hour as a minimum effing wage. $30 an hour. Buckle up. That's all I can say is buckle the F up. And this is what's going to separate some people. Some of the people that may even be in this chat will fall. There will be people that you know who will succumb to this because they're not ready. They are not ready for what's about to happen. It was so funny. Big guy, big, huge. I think he used to be a cop, and it just shocked me when I read this because you're thinking people in business and people like that, they're the ones who are going to leave, right? Well, I saw this and I had to respond to him. Zeke Arkham. If you know Zeke, big dude. Dear Florida, all right, listen, I'm a 3-time Trump voter. I refuse to vote for any Democrat. I'm staunchly conservative. I converted my wife to the right. I'm raising a right-leaning child. I was law enforcement in New York. I've gone through enough suffering, being cursed out and called out of name to last 5 lifetimes. With Mondami in New York, the neon-haired, septum ring-wearing, avid bathed in a month leftists are going to start migrating to Long Island. I'm asking for asylum in your state. I promise I won't mess up the status quo. After that, you can put a wall up behind me. I'll even help you build it. Come on down, Zeke. All of you, come. Come. Is your invitation. Leave the craziness up there and seek solace here in South Florida, or even North Florida, or Mid-Florida. This is going to get epically nuts. And I hope you guys are all ready for it. And I know, as I say it, I know some aren't. I do it. I know. It's too late to say, where'd that go? It's too late to say shoulda, coulda, and could about Sliwa. Yep. Welcome to Florida, brother. Bring it. Linda, let's see, New Jersey real estate agent's going to do just fine putting houses up for sale. Oh my gosh, this is going to be epic. Epic. Whew. I want to thank you guys for hanging out all this time. I mean, especially on a non-Trump event. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So let me just tell you about tomorrow. President Trump is up late, still tweeting at 11:45. I'm sure there'll be more going out tonight. Tomorrow, he's walking into, I don't know if it's the Oval Office or one of the rooms. He has called all of the Republicans in tomorrow, 8:30. And I love it, the fact that he's addressing them in public. Because I would think he'd call them in, but, hey, listen, we need to talk in private. I think he's going to tell them, you have to do it. You have to do it today. Rip the Band-Aid off, grow a pair. Excuse me. Do whatever you need to do. You need to rip the Band-Aid off and go with breaking the filibuster. Just do it. And you're going to see a lot of them are going to, most of them will probably say no. They don't want to do it. We'll work it out. It'll be okay. If we don't want to give them the option. They may do it to us, you effing idiots. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Man, I cannot believe we're in this situation at this point. Oh, Jack Posobiec is on Fox. Hold on.
What do you think? What would Charlie Kirk think of the speech tonight, of this candidate being placed into New York City's top position?
Well, Trace, look, I was going through some of the old conversations that I had with Charlie and Charlie's own tweets. Charlie was talking about Zohran Mamdani right up until just about 2 days before Charlie himself was murdered. I found this tweet from him that was just up September 8th, so 2 days before, where Charlie had said that Mamdani, if he wins, will usher in a crime wave, the likes of which New York had not seen since the 1990s. And sadly, I think Charlie is going to be proven correct. And it's very interesting because when you look at it, Charlie and Mamdani were roughly similar in age. Charlie would have been 32, Mamdani is 34, but they were the polar opposites in terms of what they offered for their political agendas. Mamdani, this is resentment politics. This is grievance politics. This is, you have something and I'm going to take it from you and give it to my supporters. Whereas Charlie was all about living a life centered on God, centered on country, centered on family, centered on building yourself and others up. And it's a completely separate agenda from what the two sides were offering to their various young groups and young voters.
Yeah. Elizabeth Barkahana, what do you think of this?
Well, what I heard in that speech was revolutionary language. And I think that the revolution of the Democratic Party is complete now, that the socialists have taken over the leadership of their party. He is declaring himself the face of it, let alone if the party is going to go along with it. They don't have a choice because the enthusiasm, as you said, is all behind AOC, Mamdani, and all the other socialists throughout the country that are gaining momentum. And the establishment, it's undeniable. They can't compete with that. So they're going to have to figure out a way to just bring them all into the fold together, and the socialists are taking over.
Yeah, I mean, he said again and again and again, Katie, we're going to freeze rent. We're going to child care for everybody, universal child care. And the litany of things you fire off, there was nowhere in there where he explained exactly how he was planning to do that and with whose money he was planning to do that, because the people whose money he was planning to use are now planning to bring U-Hauls and Beacons trucks in so they can go to Florida.
And go to Florida. It reminds me of what Ronald Reagan said, and I'm going to combine it with him with Alexander Hamilton. Those who would trade the soup kitchen for the welfare state, Alexander Hamilton, deserve a master. You know, this situation is so sad for New York City, and it's a referendum not on President Trump. Everyone said this isn't a referendum on President Trump, an indictment on President Trump. This is not. This is voter ID. Voter ID is the #1 issue in New York City. #2, unfettered migration, Trace. If you have 1/3 of foreign-born New Yorkers, 2/3 of the children growing up in foreign-born homes, and #3, the emperor has no clothes, as Elizabeth said. This is, the Democrat Party is now exposed for being the Communist Party. This is not socialist. This is communism.
Yep.
And Zohran represents what the Democrat Party has been moving toward for a long time and wanted to deny. We have lived communism, socialism out here in California, and Zohran is now just fully embraced it. And the Democrat Party really will have an identity crisis if they don't get in check with the party base.
It's too late. It's too late. Forget about it. You guys are communist. Because none of the Democrats are going to have the balls to stand up and say, we don't want what he's doing. And so they're going to all fall in line and convict themselves of being commies. Unbelievable. All right, let me do super chats. I won't do an after party because it's already close to midnight. So let me get through these, and we got to be together tomorrow at 8 o'clock. All right, so Metalhead, Dems having secret meetings at Republicans' houses the whole time. The shutdown will end very soon. The heck with the shutdown. We need to go full on filibuster right away. Tinley, tonight we pray for USA lest we sleep into tyranny. Very well said. Vishu, it's depressing to watch evil politicians that want to destroy America, but it hurts to watch people cheering for it. I watch and I pray while I weep. Very well said. Very well said. Kat, thank you, Barry. I will remain calm here in Virginia. I believe the people did not want this lady. We wanted the lady who served. Winsome. Thornton Maloney, still optimistic about those midterms? That was sarcasm. Demon of Cybertron, left white women are the destruction of the West. Indeed. Chris Cooper, I feel sorry for brainwashed people who voted for her here because I see evil things happening soon. Oh, yeah, it's happening for sure. I believe that. Kelly Panetsky, thank you. Linda, thank you. Born on the 4th. What bothers me is for decades we've sent American troops to Vietnam and other countries to sacrifice their lives fighting communism. To see it rear its ugly head on American soil is disgusting. Wow. Very well said. Mary Kellums. Barry, what's the name of the CBD company? CB Distillery. David Yom, Discovery Channel said 9.0 earthquake, tsunamis coming soon in Atlantic Ocean. Yikes. Mariah, thank you. Cutting Edge. I'm from New Jersey. For now, I'll save a lot of money. For now, this hasn't gone down the drain, yet Florida is the only option. Yeah, what happened is like in January if people just stop paying rent. He's not going to evict anybody. Tania, the morons in New York saw the world free and voted for Mamdani, but they'll find the hard way that free can come at a very big price. I agree. Cutting Edge. Every time the useful idiots in 2020, Pete Hegseth in his book American Crusade said America is not ready for a crusade yet. Better get ready. It's on. Mama Tracy, if they open the government up, will it be impossible to break the filibuster? I don't think it's really going to open because of what's in the continuing resolution. And in addition to that, the continuing resolution that's on the table expires on November 21st. So they would have to create an entirely different CR. Good luck with all that. Deb Blank, you'll hear that tomorrow, I'm sure. Deb Blank, I saw somewhere that Mamdani lied on his citizenship application and was being investigated. Could he be deported and save New York? I don't know. I don't know how egregious it was. Raven Kirkendall, newsflash, I have to use my own cash all the time. Leona Harris, that's when I found out we have a lot of our people still stuck on a Democrat Party. Yes, Cutting Edge again. The Muslim Brotherhood, oh crap, NYC is more than effed at this point. There will be everywhere. Just look at UK. Jesus is coming. Hey Neil, for Bibles, thank you very fanfare team and city tomorrow. Afraid what we'll see post-election. Hope Trump kicks butt tomorrow. Yeah, I hope he does too. Be safe. Wow. Hey John, chapter saved me $110 a month, $1,300 a year. Congrats. Nikki P, the king's heart is in the Lord's hand. We must pray that he directs the hearts of the Republican leaders. Agreed. Cutting Edge. I think MLK's words still resonate now. His words that the white liberal woman was the most dangerous. I think those words were the trigger for his assassination. Remember, it's a 100-year plan. I don't know what's happened to white women. I really don't. I don't. Salrak, well, maybe because they're manless, many of them? I don't know. Well, government will open tomorrow because plane crashed in Kentucky. What if it was Dems that planned that crash just so they can say that the government opened tomorrow? We'll see. Bridget Cordray, maybe all Democrats will gravitate to New York. Just the commies. Leona Harris, that speech is to the whole United States of America. Wake up, people. Yeah, it was a call to arms for sure. Lisa Frampton, Obama 2.0. No, this dude is worse. David Yeoman, leave the world behind comes next, and deer in the headlights Republicans. Yeah, I can see that tomorrow. We'll see. Watch the real limp-wristed Republicans tomorrow. Alex Figueroa, New York City, Cuba, and Venezuela. Yeah, really. We're trying to get rid of Venezuela, and we just birthed one. Fernando Cardenas, and so it begins. That's what he said. Raquel Sandoval, I'm so disgusted with this invasion. And Charlie questions Israel and was assassinated. And after that, I have been finding out so much stuff that I'm disgusted. Our congressional people each have an assigned AIPAC person. And Nicholas Lamonicus. Yeah, the music at the end. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm not going to go with the after party. It's late, and I got to get ready for tomorrow. Believe it or not, after I get done here, then I got to go ahead and I'll grab something to eat and come back and start getting ready for tomorrow morning show. So I will see you guys tomorrow.